Why did my mic start moving? It started moving before I even started pressing the talk. Wild, crazy, wild, crazy. Welcome back, you guys. Hope you had a nice break from me. The break wasn't long enough, was it? It was for me. Okay. Okay, creator dashboard. Stop being weird. Let me know. I can hear sound alerts again, so because this isn't a Switch game, I don't need my capture card. Let me know though if this isn't looking right for you guys, because I was looking on Streamlabs. That's the OBS system I use. It was being weird, so let me know, because I might have to change the capture it uses. But without further ado, we're at the last 3 stages of the adolescence stage, and I cannot wait to be done with adolescence. Like, this is cute and everything, but I don't want to be a child anymore. I want to be free. You looked up, noticing the sun was finally setting. You had been trying to delay the end of the day for as long as possible. The evening breeze tickled your nose as you sat on your front porch, munching on fresh watermelon slices. Ooh, that feels targeted. I don't like watermelon. I like artificial watermelon, but not real watermelon. I don't know why. It's just my taste buds don't like texture like that. It likes good texture, and fruit is bad texture. The snack made you happy. You thought watermelon was just okay. You were eating it because watermelon was a summer tradition. You weren't even sure why you were eating it. I am not sure why I'm eating watermelon. Speak the truth. But that didn't stop you from munching on the sweet snack. Oh, hey, it's Cove. You turned to look at Cove. You both have been sitting in comfortable silence for a while now. He sat next to you, close enough for your shoulders to touch. He was happily absorbed in his thoughts and his own slice of watermelon. Oh, he's been here the whole time. Oh, okay. I thought I was here by myself. Chuckling, you watched as his face twisted in discomfort. He had to stop chewing to spit a seed into the bush. Don't put that in my bush. You shook your head in disapproval. Ew, you're the same. Spat a seed in the bush. Ew. I hate when people spit. I think it's so gross. Cove shrugged. His cheeks turned slightly pink. He glanced at you bashfully. You could tell he was searching for words to explain himself. I don't really like the seeds, the hard black ones. It feels weird swallowing them whole. I mean, you don't have to swallow the seeds. It makes sense, but still, can you get a napkin or a trash can? Exactly. What are you spitting for? Gross, nasty. Your nose wrinkled in disgust. It was hard to shake how gross him spitting stuff on the ground was. Like, total turn off. Gives me the ick. He chewed on that thought a moment, figuratively and literally, as he continued eating his current slice. Okay, I can maybe find something good. Your hand, put it in your hand and then go throw it away and then wash your hand. It's not that hard. You're gonna have to wash your hands anyway from the watermelon sweetness. Maybe? Cove rolled his eyes, but his mouth pulled into a small smile. He opted to take another bite instead of giving you the satisfaction of a response. I wonder if I'll have another slice after this one. That one is your third already. Baby girl, if you want another slice, go have another slice. I'm not stopping you. I'm gonna encourage it too. I'm encouraging you to eat more. You look so thin and pale. I'm joking. He's tan and okay. Is that bad? It tastes really good. You bumped him with your shoulder, unable to resist. You knocked the mostly finished slice out of his hand. I'm not that mean. You smiled at him. No, it's alright. It's definitely bad. You sighed affectionately. No, it's alright. It isn't super filling and there's still a lot left. Why not? Alright, that's all I needed. Yeah. Don't be ashamed of your few choices. He picked up a fourth slice with confidence and looked at you. His smile stretched ear to ear. A little while later, Cove flinched, making a confused sound. He slowly put his current slice down on the plate next to him. Are you okay? Yeah. He stood up, head tilted back to look at the sky. His feet took him to the middle of the street. Don't get hit. Did you notice anything? What do you mean? I thought I felt a raindrop. Ooh, that happens to me all the time. Sometimes I'll feel like phantom rain. And people are like, what are you talking about? It's not raining. And then boom, it starts raining. And I'm like, ooh, look at that. The sun's still out. You put down your watermelon slice and hopped off of your front step. Immediately, you left the tap You felt a tap of water on the crown of your head, making you yelp. You're right! Cove was still staring up at the sky, and you watched as he began blinking more rapidly. When he finally turned in your direction, his face was bemused. It's a sun shower. It seemed crazy, but soon you could avoid the drops that began increasing into a light shower. Oh, that's fun. That's cute and fun. Spending time in the rain with a loved one. Booming with laughter, Cove kicked off his shoes towards his front door and reveled in the moment. Couldn't be me. When I was younger, when I was a teenager, I had perm in my hair. I mean, I could. I think I liked it better when I had a perm in my hair because then it was easier to straighten my hair afterwards. Yeah. But if you ever, like, get your hair wet after you get a perm, don't do it immediately after you get a perm, but like a day or two after you get a perm and you get your hair wet. The perm smells so strong. So strong. You were excited, you hid from the rain, you were annoyed with the sun sprinkling. It felt kind of special to you. It feels kind of special to me. Something rooted you in place. You couldn't quite put your finger on any word to describe the feeling. Elated, he was jumping and spinning in the rain. There was also a warmth radiating from him. Oh, it's just so cute. Then you joined Cove. You were content to continue watching. I'm gonna join him. You ran over to stand on the street with him. He smiled at your approach. Oh my gosh. He smiled at your approach and offered you his hand. Aw, this is cute. You took it. You played in the droplets until you were both dizzy and laughed until your bodies ached. In the middle of the street, though? That's dangerous. Just as suddenly as the sprinkling started, it stopped and left you dripping with the smell of wet asphalt and soil tickling your nose. Cove caught your eyes, running a hand through his wet hair, combing it back. He frowned. It's over. The drops of rain clinging to his face almost could have been mistaken for tears. He sounded that disappointed. Well, it was fun. I wish it last longer. I've had enough rain for one summer. You don't have to say anything. I'm charmed. He's so cute. Cole, you adorable little bean. There was still a spark of amusement dancing in his eyes from the sun shower, and you couldn't help but smile from ear to ear. What? Nothing. Just thinking about how fast you committed to getting soaked. He chuckled bashfully. Yeah, it was pretty cool. You then looked over at your door inside. You knew Ma wasn't going to be happy to see you trailing water into the house. Cove rubbed his arm awkwardly. He must have been thinking the same thing because he watched you sympathetically. You can dry off at my house if you want. My parents won't mind. Oop. Thanks, let's do that. You're the sweetest guy I know. I don't want to cause trouble. I'm fine. Thanks, let's do that. I'm not gonna stay in these wet clothes. Why look like staying in these wet clothes? Yeah, okay. His whole demeanor brightened. You figured he must have felt relieved to help you avoid getting in any trouble. That's crazy. They're gonna be mad at me because I'm wet. I guess not that big of a deal. I'll just clean it up afterwards. Or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just let it dry on its own. Cove led you inside and you stayed close to him. We have a ton of spare towels. I just gotta dig them out of the hall closet. Thank you for doing this. What should I do? I think I'm gonna need to borrow some clothes from you too. I think I'm gonna need to borrow some clothes from you too. Cove didn't have any of the towels yet. He came back into eye shot so you could see him stare at you flatly and roll his eyes. Haha, we're not exactly the same size. You'd be swimming in my clothes. Listen, my clothes are wet. You expect me to stay in these clothes? Give me some clothes, boy. You laughed and let him go. I'm not joking. It'd be nice to borrow a shirt. You thought I was joking? No, I'm dead ass. He raised an eyebrow, and a tiny frown paired with a blush appeared on his face. Oh, I mean, if you're serious, I'm just gonna dry my stuff off, but I could get something for you. Thanks, Cove. With that, Cove disappeared and returned in no time. He wasn't making eye contact, but he had towels in hand, plus what seemed to be one of his pajama shirts. Oh, I get a pajama shirt. Okay, look at us. It was bright pink. It was a bright pink color with a dark brown seashell pattern all over. You were certain it looked great on him. This doesn't seem like something Cove would wear. This seems like something Mr. Holden would wear. So, well, here it is. I hope that works. Thanks! You accepted both the towel and the shirt. You wrapped the cloth around your neck temporarily and took a trip to his bathroom to change. The shirt was old but very soft. You already felt more comfortable just thinking about having it on instead of your current damp attire. You left your shirt over the shower curtain rod to dry, patted yourself down with a towel, and slipped Cove's shirt on. You wrapped your arms around your torso. The change didn't completely fix your predicament, but it was definitely an improvement. Despite Cove's prior comment being pretty on the money, it was huge on you, but it was dry. You couldn't deny it was a little bit thrilling to wear a piece of his clothing. You almost couldn't believe it was true. This is cute. This is adorable. I'm having fun playing this game. Not wanting to keep Cove waiting, you promptly returned to the living room. He looked up to greet you after hearing you come back down the hall. How'd it go? Is it good? It looks good. What, really? He chuckled a broken laugh, unsure what the proper thing to say about this kind of situation was. Keeping eye contact was even more of a challenge for him than before. Aww, you're so cute, Cove. Even though it doesn't fit me? Yeah, it's big for sure, but that's not bad. Actually, just really nice. You got the impression that just as you felt some excitement at wearing his clothes, he was having a similar reaction to seeing you in it. What? That's crazy. That's wild. Thanks, Cove. You're welcome. A sudden call caught both of your attentions. It's Mom. I thought I heard voices. Cove's mom strolled into the living room with a curious grin. What happened here? You're both wet. There was a sun shower. Badass. Okay. Cove smiled back at his parent. He came inside to dry off. My moms don't want me going into my house when I'm wet. So I told Princess to come back here. That was very sweet of you, baby. She ruffled Cove's wet hair and laughed at the drops of water that shook off. Then a light came to Kyra's eyes. I have an idea. Why don't we go for a drive? It has to beat standing around the house, and you'll air dry in no time. Cove only offered a shrug and a bent smile to his mom. He looked at you for a real answer. Yeah, let's do it. You weren't sure all about her suggestion. I don't know if my parents would want me to. Fuck what my parents want. Let's go. Let's do it. Fun? This will be good. Kyra pulled out her cell phone from her pocket to call your moms. They had swapped numbers early in the summer. Oh, okay. Head on out to the garage. I'll meet you there in just a minute. Sorry, my mom made me so pushy. She gets some idea in her head and that's what she does. And I love that for everyone involved. That's okay. Thanks for letting me come. I didn't do anything. That wasn't true at all, but you let him get away with that. Come on. Cove led you to the car and Kyra wasn't too far behind. Okay, Okay, in the back, you two. Oh, why do I have to sit in the back? Why does Cove have to sit in the back? Why can't he sit in the front seat? We're of age to sit in the front seat. Once the three of you were situated inside, Kyra started it and drove out of the residential area. When she hit a main road, the car sped up and she rolled the back windows down all the way. Oh, that's why. Her ears have to be hurting. Like, if you drive and you've ever had the windows rolled down in the back while you're driving, oh my gosh, the pain I feel just thinking about it. Hey! Cove started laughing as he kept trying in vain to keep his hair from flying into his eyes too much. Meanwhile, you closed your eyes as the wind whipped against your wet clothes. I said this drive was going to be good for getting air dried. Yeah, but I didn't agree to this much air. Cove tried pressing the window button, but nothing happened. His eyebrows furrowed in frustration. You disabled the back? Sorry, can't hear you. Smiling deviously, Kyra turned on the radio and turned it up to be heard over the wind. You laughed and enjoyed the event. You jokingly complained about the situation. You were not a fan of the stunt. You danced in your seat to the music. Yeah, let's dance. Let's boogie. You recognized the song immediately. Mouthing along to the words and moving about to the beat felt refreshing. Cove shook his head at you until he cracked a half smile. Slowly, he relaxed and bopped a little to the beat of the song himself. Ooh, what's this? Papers. And then something struck the side of your leg. Several papers were freed from under the car seats and were blown about. Ooh. Ah, oh, they can't go out the window. Cove began to haphazardly reach around the space to try and get it all back under wraps. Amused, you helped frantically. You watched him struggle, entertained. That's so mean. I'm gonna help frantically, because I would also be freaking out. You jumped to his aid immediately, trying to snatch up every single paper crashing around within your reach. As much as you both caught fistfuls, there was no stopping a few that got sucked out the windows. Cove gasped. Mom, close the windows! Kara offered no response other than a chuckle. She kept driving. The both of you had sour looks at that. Hold the fucking phone. Ma'am, 1, this is not your car. 2, these papers could be important for Cove's dad's business. 3, close the fucking windows. Oh, she's trifling. She's trifling for this. I was all Team Kyra, but now I'm Team Clifford. We got most of them. I know. Thanks. Oop, it's dark. The sun set completely, and at that, Kyra rolled up the windows. Cove let out a big sigh and released the random bits of paper he had in his fist. My mom is crazy. He ran a hand through his wind-blown hair and laughed with a bit of exasperation. Is she gonna feed us? She took me on this trip. I better get fed. You felt good? You didn't know what was happening anymore? You were fed. I'm fed up. This drive wasn't going the way you or Cove imagined it would. Kyra's forceful leadership wasn't instilling you with confidence for the evening. Usually, like I said, I'm usually Team Kyra. But today, I'm not, girl. You're a little bit trifling today. Cove watched you with interest until his focus was taken by a new comment from his mom. I bet you're not feeling damp anymore. No, but now I feel tricked. Cove continued to not give his mom's antics a pass, but you spotted Kyra looking at you both a moment in the rearview mirror, smiling. You started with Cove. Do I side with Cove or do I stay silent? Because I'm not siding with Kyra. You know what? I'm gonna side with Cove. Bestie, I feel you. Yeah, you didn't tell us you'd trap us like that. My bad. Kyra continued driving. The radio volume was adjusted for the closed windows. Everyone was sitting more comfortably. Kyra lowered the sound even more after pulling into a red light. She took the chance to turn around. You caught her coy smirk. Does anyone know what we drove past during the dry cycle? I'm not sure I want to. A movie theater? Okay, most places have one somewhere. It isn't that late, you know. We can probably still catch a show. Really, Mom? You don't even know what we'll be playing. That's what makes it fun. I want to see a movie. I'm not sure about that. No way, that's not fun. Heck yeah. Aren't my moms expecting me back soon? You know what? I probably would say something like that. I probably would. You're gonna make their parents worried. Aw, don't get me wrong. I'm not advocating impulse behavior every day, but it's important to seize the moment when you can. We might never have another night like this. And don't worry, Princess. I said I'd watch over you for the night, not just 10 minutes or so. I'll put your parents in the loop about hitting the movies as soon as we get there. I didn't bring any shoes. Yeah, no shoes, no pants, no service. No shirts, no shoes, no pants, no service. There we go. I was trying to remember what it was. You shouldn't always bring shoes when you're going... You should always bring shoes when you're going out. I'm not wearing any either. I probably wouldn't be wearing shoes either. You lifted your foot up and wiggled your toes so Cove could see. How are we gonna go inside barefoot? Ooh, that's so right. Movie theaters are so nasty. Ooh. We can't, nope. We'll sneak through quick. No one will notice. You can do it just this once. You shared a look with Cove. It was comforting that at least you were on this wild ride together. Oh my gosh. His mom is crazy. I thought Mr. Holden was wild. I thought Clifford was wild. But his mom is a whole different brand of wild. No wonder he's like this. Kyra drove into Kyra drove into the theater parking lot and shut the engine off. With the unbuckling of her seatbelt, she ushered you and Cove out. Despite being hesitant to leave, once outside, Cove burst into a sprint towards the cinema. Okay. We were right along with him. The tarmac was still wet from before and cold to stand on with bare feet. Inside, you noticed there were no lines. All the current shows had already started. Kyra paid with that no line and strode up towards the counter with some words of encouragement. A third of the running time is ads these days. We haven't missed anything. I mean, no. Meanwhile, Cove stood next to you awkwardly. He shifted from one foot to the other and constantly kept looking around. Oh, this poor baby. He's a me. I was such a little goody two-shoes when I was younger. I didn't start acting out until I turned like 18. I did all my teenager acting out while I was 18. I mean, I was still like a teenager acting out, but like the intense acting out is when I started becoming a full-fledged adult. His shady behavior would have made him much more likely to get caught than standing still would have, if there were people around to really notice. It was pretty goofy. Oh. Still, you consoled him, you teased him over it, you complained with him, you kept quiet. I'm gonna console him. It's okay. We got this together. You poked Cove's arm to get his attention. It'll be okay, Cove. His expression softened into an appeased smile. Yeah, thanks. Eliciting a sigh of relief out of you, Kyra returned with the tickets in hand. She quickly herded you and Cove towards the showing room. Can I get some popcorn? That's the only reason I go to the movie theater, is to get popcorn. Like, if I don't have popcorn, I'm not going to be happy watching this movie. I'm so sorry for the little hiccup, but hold on. We've almost made it home free. Once we sit down, it'll be smooth sailing. What about my popcorn? The lights were already off in the showing room, but the movie hadn't started yet. The upcoming movie trailers were still playing. Yes! Keeping her volume in a hushed tone, Kyra couldn't help but burst with excitement over your luck. You followed her down the walkway until she spotted open seats in the middle-ish area of the theater. The best seats, if you will. Actually, you know what? The ones all the way at the back are good too. But don't go back there. That's where couples usually go. And they be doing stuff back there. Kyra pointed at the seats, looking over her shoulder at you and Cove, waiting for input. Cove nodded and you decided to give her a thumbs up, and she led the way. When you reached your seats, Kyra sighed contentedly. Cove gave a sigh of his own and lifted his feet to sit cross-legged instead of keeping them down on the floor. You know what? That makes sense. That makes sense. He then leaned over and whispered to you. Are these... No. I don't think they had those seats back in the day. So if you've went to the movie theaters recently, in like the last 5 years, they've been redoing movie theaters, and they put like the chairs that like can lean back and like they're like motorized or whatever. Are these those chairs? I doubt it. I doubt it. They don't look like it. But those are good chairs. I love those chairs. He then leaned over and whispered to you. Do you have any idea what the movie is? Bitch, I thought you knew. No, I don't know what I'm seeing. I came here for popcorn. That's the only reason I'm here. I don't have one. I'm uninterested. No, I didn't hear the name or anything when your mom brought the tickets. Oh boy. After a couple more previews, watch it be a romantic comedy. The main event began, yeah. It dawned on you quickly that it was a horror film. One about a group of students being haunted by a dangerous ghost. Aw, boo. Boo. I can't be here with no popcorn. You were psyched you could live with that. You thought this was gonna be annoying. You became nervous, you were terrified. You can't do this, you had to leave. It's gonna be annoying without my popcorn. I'm stuck in this popcorn. You slumped in your seat frowning. Those kinds of films are never good, and you were stuck there. You see, no, because I like horror. I like horror games. I like watching people play horror games. Horror movies, I can live without them. Some of them are really good, and then some of them, like slasher movies, I'm not a fan of those. Those are so boring to me. But psychological thrillers, ooh, I love me a psychological thriller. But here I am, no popcorn, in a slasher movie. I'm guessing. I'm not having a good time. You slumped in your seat frowning. These kinds of movies were never good, and you were stuck there. Glancing over at Cove, you noticed that he looked less than thrilled with the movie. He bit down his bottom lip and stared at the screen with trembling eyes. Oh, are you scared? Oh, precious baby. Cove had never been a fan of ghosts or intentionally frightening things. That was something you learned about him early on. Oop, we gotta get up out of here. You remained still. You tapped Cove on the shoulder to get his attention. You anchored your body and your seat to be closer to him. You grabbed hold of his hand. You covered your ears. Grab his hand. Grab his hand. Or no, do I want his attention? You know what? Yeah, we're gonna grab his hand. Your fingers wrapped tight around his and he jumped slightly at the unexpected touch. You know what? Valid. I would probably do something like that too. I don't like people touching me, like, randomly. Like, even when Gil touches me, I jump a little bit because I'm, like, scared because I'm, like, I'm not expecting it. But then I'm like, oh, it's just you. Like, we could be, like, the only two people here, and I'll be doing something, and he touches me, and I'm like, oh. It's just how it is. I get scared very easily. But his expression softened when he peeked at you out of the corner of his eyes. He gave your hand a squeeze to silently voice support. That made you feel good. Sometimes the other people in the theater screamed or jeered or clapped, depending on what was happening. Clapping? In the theater? It's not a play? Your heart was pounding in your chest when the movies finally came to an end. The main character resolved the hauntings, but in a dark conclusion, they didn't make it out alive. Oh my gosh, what's that movie? What's that movie with the old lady that, like, sees the ghosts and the demons and stuff? Insidious? I love the Insidious series. It is so fucking scary though. That shit gave me nightmares. But I love the Insidious series. I don't think I saw the last Insidious movie though. Is this what we were watching? I feel like we were watching Insidious. You stayed to let the credits roll and for the theater to clear out. Then it was time to head back to the car. Oh, you guys stay for the credits? Because I know people, like, do, like, story after the credits and everything, but I don't give a fuck. I do not give a fuck about that extra story at the end. I want to get up out of here. I didn't get any popcorn, and I gotta stay through the credits. Ugh. Both you and Cole took the same seats in the back of the car again. Even though it was late, Kyra was exuding an upbeat, cheerful energy. What a great flick!
Yes.
It wasn't so bad in the end. You enjoyed it, baby? No. I mean, it's hard to explain. I got really tense, and I guess that's the point of horror stuff, but I kind of don't want to have to feel like that. That's how I feel. I get really tense, not during horror things. I get tense watching drama happen. Like, I've been watching Ugly Betty. I haven't watched it in a bit, but I've been watching Ugly Betty, and when there's drama, I'm like, ooh, I want this scene to be over with so bad. I want to not have the drama happen anymore. That's why I watch comedic things, because there's usually no drama. And if there is, it's like it's so tame that I won't get that feeling of, oh my god, I hate it. So yeah, I don't really watch, like, drama stuff, but sometimes I do watch drama stuff, and I don't like the feeling. I don't like the feeling. Now that it's all over, though, it was sort of cool to do.
Fantastic.
That's so great. Princess, how are you feeling? It was awesome, it was terrible, but that made it fun. It was just bad. It's alright. I'm gonna shrug. Oh no, was it that bad? You nodded and Kyra frowned at that. I think I have some making up to do. Who wants dessert? Or just some regular food? What? You were surprised when you realized Kyra was on the way home, but turning into a drive-through burger restaurant. Finally, I get fed. I'm not hungry. You shook your head no. Yeah, you nodded. Yeah, that's the spirit. Get whatever you want. Thanks, Mom. It's my third mom over here. I want. Ooh, can I really get whatever I want? I want chicken nuggets. I want mozzarella sticks. I want a drink. And I want a soft serve ice cream. And I want a chocolate chip cookie. That's everything. Is that alright? It's okay. Cove was tickled by the size of your list and had no disapproval over it. Listen, you say I can get whatever I want. Don't say I can get whatever I want and then not mean that, okay? Kyra pulled up to the window and ordered what you asked for. She then decided to order one of everything on the value menu. Oh, okay. Whoa, what are you gonna do with all that? Eat it? The whole menu? Even after Princess picked most of that already? Hey now, Cove. I didn't judge you for eating 4 slices of watermelon. Don't judge my choices. That's right. There are only maybe 10 things on it, and they're about $1 each. I can sing it. And besides, whatever we don't finish, I'm just gonna feed to your dad. He'll be in heaven. See, she's thinking smart. She's thinking smart. Cove sighed affectionately at his mother's antics. I'm back on Kyra's side. We're besties again. Thank you. You're quite welcome. A few minutes later, Kyra exchanged her money for multiple bags of food, which she quickly tossed to you both in the back seats. Then she then drove off into the night. Can you pass me something? What should I grab? Surprise me. You chose one of the wrapped sandwiches and handed it to her. You had no idea if it was a burger or something else. Thanks very much. Accepting that this was what was happening, Cove shrugged and started pulling food out of the bags for himself. Where is your dad? Whose car is this? It can only be his car. So did she just strand him at work or something? I guess. Are you gonna go pick him up? Cove ended up with some onion rings and he happily munched on them. Ooh, give me one of your onion rings. I'm gonna grab something I like. What do I look like telling her what I want and then me grabbing something random? That's trifling behavior, for one. And two, I'm not gonna eat something I don't want. Kyra's crazy ride just kept going. You have to wonder if this night would ever end. The adventure continued, and we were so preoccupied in the back that you almost didn't realize the car had stopped. Kyra turned to look over her shoulder. Okay, party people, it seems we've reached the end of the road. Confused, you checked out the window and saw nothing except empty road ahead, and then you noticed it. The now leaving sign. Kyra took you through the entire town. Ooh, wow. What are we doing here? Kyra turned the car around and parked it along the side of the road. I think you both could use a break to stretch your legs, and I doubt anyone is going to come through here this time of night. Besides, I might make a call, so go on. Ooh, so many things are happening. Hold on. Oh, thank you for the raid, Jinosuke. Thank you. You're raiding from Life of Pi. Oh, how was that? Lies of Pi? No, Lies of P. Oh my gosh. How was that? Greetings, raiders. Hold on, let me get my spiel. Hello, future loyal subjects. I'm Princess Blue, your princess. Please refer to me as such. I play mostly story-driven or relaxing games. Feel free to stay and admire as long as you'd like. Please take care of yourself, though. So if you need to raid and go, that's okay. If you don't want to stay and watch me play this game, that's okay. I just appreciate the raid in the first place. But welcome in. How is everyone doing? Let me read your thingy that it gave you. Greetings, noble seekers of the digital realm. Jinosuke, a sassy puppeteer of pixels and a purveyor of chill streams, graces us with their presence. From embarking on epic journeys to reaching New Game Plus max levels and PvP and PvE battles on Persona 5. Oh, that says PlayStation 5, not Persona 5. Oh my gosh. PlayStation 5 to whimsical wanderings with a companion through Enchanted Forest on PC. They offer a diverse tapestry of entertainment. Join in the merriment and mayhaps witness their taunter's tongue in action. Ooh, it's even so cute. It has been a wonderful time currently playing New Game Plus, getting rest of the trophies on Lies of P. I have a friend who was playing that, and she was streaming it for a bit, but it looked so hard. I'm playing currently, if you guys are interested, I'm playing Our Life Beginning and Always. It's a dating sim, and it's really cute. We're in the adolescence stage, so if you want to sit here and be here for that, I appreciate it. You don't have to, but I'm so glad that you had a wonderful time playing, Jinosuke. And thank you again for the raid. Okay. Let's see, where were we? Cove shook his head and got out of the car without a fight. You stayed in the car? I'm following Cove. That's bestie. I'm following. Oh, guys, remember when we were here, when he ran away from home? Look at us. Full circle. You got out and caught up to Cove. He was busy looking at the stars and stretching his arms while he strolled around. You thought being there was exciting. Being there was pretty cool in your mind. You didn't care much overall. You felt worried, you were mad, you felt tired. Being there was pretty cool in my mind. Your dog wants their walkie, so you'll be lurking. Have a wonderful day. Oh, thank you. Tell your doggy I said hi and I love them. This was a good place to stop. If she was gonna take us all around town, at least it wasn't done halfway. Cove smiled, glancing from the stars to you. Ooh, that's romantic. Shortly after, you noticed Cove's expression changed. His eyebrows furrowed, and it seemed like he was thinking hard about what he wanted to say next. Ooh, what do you want to say next? Princess, I am really sorry for my mom being crazy tonight. She isn't always like this. Seriously. Why is she being like this now? I think she feels like she has to get out there and do things with me while she can. And she wants me to make the time memorable. This visit has been really different than the others, and it didn't start off good. Thinking about how Kyra's trip began this summer, you could understand why Cove was thinking along those lines. She probably wanted all the trouble to be worth it in the end. Aw, it's so nice. It's so nice of her to want that. She's a good mom. She's just wild. Are you having a good time with your mom around? Okay, I get it. She shouldn't have made me be a part of it. No, I'm not gonna say that. You nodded in understanding. She gives a taste. She's giving you a taste of your own medicine. I'm not gonna say that either. Are you having fun with your mom? That's what I'm gonna say. I wanna know. Are you having fun with your mom, Cove? Yeah, it's still... Sorry, that was too high. Yeah, it's still weird having her and dad in the same house, but I love her. She's my mom. I like hanging out with her most of the time. It went silent between you both, and you jumped when you heard the sound of a car door closing. Cove, princess! You turned to see Kyra by the driver's side waving. The sight brought a smile to Cove's face, and she quickly made her way over to where you both were standing. Thanks for waiting. I didn't mind. How did I end up with such a polite boy? She ruffled his hair, and Cove lowered his head, accepting the compliment. You thought about how interesting it was to see how Cove interacted with his mom. And then the memory hit you. That first summer, you and Cove came to this very spot in his runaway attempt to find his way back to his mom. And now, you were all here together. It's so full circle. It's so cute. Ugh. This game is so fucking cute. I love it. You kept that thought to yourself. You whispered about it to Cole. I'm saying this shit out loud. I don't give a fuck. Everybody's gonna know my thoughts. Hey, Cole, this is where you went to try seeing her when you moved to Sunset Bird. Do you remember? What does that mean? Cove gaped at you, and it became clear that his mom hadn't known about that adventure. Ooh. You came here to see me? Kyra's eyes grew large as the words fully sunk in. I heard you wanted to visit, but no one ever said you actually tried to do it on your own. Never mind you made it all the way through the entire town. Cove hung his head in shame. Even in the dark, there was no mistaking how red his face was burning. I'm sorry. I thought she knew. I thought it was gonna be a cute little moment. But oops. Sorry, Cove. Oh, it's alright, little man. She started rubbing his back soothingly. It's definitely too late to punish you for it. I'm just glad you ended up being fine. This is an impressive distance for such a tiny guy to travel. Yeah, he was such a pipsqueak back then, wasn't he? Wasn't he, I say, as we were the same height. While Kyra spoke to him positively, there still seemed to be something sad to her tone. I hope you never feel like you have to run away again. I don't want to run away anymore. Don't worry. Oop. I felt like that was a bit of a slight underhanded thing to say, but it's also nice that he doesn't want to run away anymore. It's because I'm here. It's because we're besties. She offered him a small smile. You laughed. You felt extremely embarrassed. You apologized to Cove. You didn't feel like it was a big deal. I'm gonna apologize. I thought she knew. I'm sorry, Cove. I shouldn't have just said that. It's okay. I should have said something before myself. I should have said something myself before. Oh my gosh. Kyla let out a big breath of air. We should probably call it a night, huh? Yes, let's go. Finally, you shrugged. You felt disappointed it was actually over. Let's go. I can't wait to collapse in bed. Kyra shyly smiled and gestured to the car. Quietly, you all made your way back to it. Cove naturally followed you, taking the seat nearby in the back with the collection of fast food bags still strewn about. You rested your head into the seat as the car roared to life. As you did, Cove leaned in close to whisper. I wonder, is she paying for gas? Or Mr. Holden's like, you know what, you don't have to pay for anything. I'm just curious, because she sure is running up this man's gas. I can talk to your moms if they do get mad about tonight for some reason. It was my mom's idea. You didn't have a choice. What are you gonna do? What is you talking to my mom's gonna do? Nothing. It's okay. Thank you, thanks, I might need it. I'm just glad we're heading back now. This was worth it even if they get mad. I'm just gonna nod. Also, don't worry about bringing the shirt back when you get home. Just keep it. Oop! I completely forgot I was still wearing his clothes. This is such a cute little thing. Until tomorrow? He simply shook his head. Your face went warm. He was giving it to you. Aww. This is so cute. Oh my god. Thanks, you're the best. Secretly, you had hope to not have to give it back. Good, you weren't getting it back no matter what. You were at a loss over this. You know what? I was a feisty little teenager. I probably would have said this. But secretly, I would have hoped that I didn't have to give it back. I'm gonna say it. We're doing this like how I would if I was a teenager. Good, you weren't getting it back no matter what. Cove smiled amused at you, but said nothing else. The drive home was smooth and uneventful. The radio was off completely and you felt your eyelids getting heavy. Your head rested on the side of the car. Your head came to rest on Cove. You know what? Payback. Payback for when you took a nap on me, Cove. I remember. Pepperidge Farms remembers. You were too tired to keep your head up and felt quite comfortable here. Cove didn't have any issues there. He leaned into it. Oh, this is cute. You must have been exhausted too. You're happy to stay close like that. It was warm and comfortable. When you opened your eyes, you expected to still be in the car, not your bedroom. It was somehow already morning. You couldn't remember how you ended up there. Ooh, I love when that happens. I love that I'm still small enough to be carried into my room. Because when I was a teenager, I was not small enough to be carried into my room. When I was a teenager, I lived in an apartment complex, and we had to walk up a bunch of stairs. And then when I was a teenager again, I lived in like four different places when I was a teenager. Most of them were apartments. Sitting up in the bed, you thought about how last night was quite an experience. It would almost have felt like a dream if you weren't still wearing the shirt Cove had let you take. It definitely happened. Oh, my shirt's still in his house. And you were glad that you got to have a spontaneous escapade this summer. But my shirt, do I get that shirt back? Do I tell him to keep my shirt? It's gonna be too small for him. Road trip! Even though you were awake, the sun had barely peeked its head above the horizon, and the sky above was still dark, though lightening by the minute. Usually you wouldn't be up so early, especially during summer vacation, but today was different. Ooh, where am I going? Today, instead of the lazy days you were used to, everything around you was a flurry of activity as both your family and Coves prepared for what lay ahead. Ooh, where are we going? We're going. Because parked in the street just outside your house was a massive RV camper. So big you couldn't even see Coves' house behind it. Ooh, damn. That's large. His parents had rented the RV for a few days to take him on a short road trip to see the Redwood National Park. You glanced at Cove, who was standing nearby, taking in the scene in front of him. The prospect of the trip had to be a mixed bag for him, but it was only 3 days, so it seemed he was dealing with it as best he could. Especially now that you and your family were joining them. Ooh, yay. Ooh, yay. You weren't sure how exactly it had happened. You knew your parents and Cove spoke to each other often, and somewhere along the way, plans were made after Cliff offered to share the space. The parents all thought it was a fantastic idea. Of course they think it's a fantastic idea. Parents love nature. You had already gotten a good look inside while helping to load everything in. You had to admit that while it was a really big car, fitting that many people inside was going to be snug.
Let's go.
Move it or lose it, kiddo. Mom bustled past with a cooler in one hand and a large bottle of water under the other. She was upbeat for this early in the morning. Maybe she feels like how you feel when you go on school field trips when you were younger. Maybe that's the excitement I need. Should I go away? Should I rent an RV? I can't afford an RV. I don't like nature. Like, I like nature, but I don't like nature. Like, it's nice. Nature's nice, but I don't want to be in it for too long. I don't think I would enjoy camping. Camping seems like a terrible idea to me. And I know Gil wants to go camping because he loves starting fires. But I don't think I could do it. Not that this matters. We were talking about school field trips and how that must feel. Like, I like gardening. I just don't like the rest of it. I like weeding, but I hate bugs so much. I'll deal with a worm. I'll deal with a worm and an ant, but a spider, no, not for me. Also, Mom, you're looking fresh as fuck in that robe. Get it, girl. Ma, however, seemed to be on the other side of the wavelength. She followed behind her wife, dragging her feet on every step. I'm gonna need a whole lot of... What? No. Where am I getting these extra words from? Where? I'm going to need a whole jug of coffee once we hit the road. Oh my gosh. You could relate to Mom. It was way too early. Personally, you were raring to go as your mom. You felt like you were in middle ground between two. Mommy, I understand. It's too fucking early for this shit. You yawned and rubbed at your eyes, still sleeping from the early morning wake-up call. The air outside was still damp from dew, and that helped make you a bit more alert. Oh, you're coming too, Elizabeth. And then at the end of the chain came your sister. She had a bone to pick before the trip officially started. Of course she did. She doesn't like Cove. Her and Cove got beef ever since he didn't want third place. Actually, I don't think he placed at all. I think she told him, actually, you didn't place at all. Your volleyball team sucked ass. But where were we? Her rattling off critiques added some level of normalcy to everything new going on. I don't get why I can't sleep in the bed tonight. Princess is the youngest, and I'll never fall asleep in that loft. We're trying to make things fair on everyone. If you want to play the older card, you should be offering to take the loft both nights. It's important for both siblings to make sacrifices for their younger ones. For big siblings, not both siblings. Cove's an only child. What if he did have a sibling? That'd be crazy. Elizabeth huffed. Not happy with the answer in the slightest, she enfolded her arms, leaning back against the side of the RV. The trip plans had been nailed down prior, the sleeping arrangements included. Elizabeth still held on to her objections with them. There was a main area of the RV with a cough. A cough? Oh my gosh. I put this G where the C should have been. There was a main area of the RV with a couch, loft, and some floor space. At the end of the car was a room with a large bed. Your moms were sharing the bed, Kyra was on the couch, and father and son intended to sleep on the floor. Oh my gosh. I would hate that so much. We bought this big ass RV and I gotta sleep on the floor? That's crazy. This is our family's RV. But it would be weird because Mr. Holden and Kyra are not married anymore. So I guess it'd be weird. Me and Elizabeth could share the bed, I guess. The adults determined you and Elizabeth would switch between the small loft above the driver's seat and sharing the bed with moms. You were fine with the arrangements. You were excited to sleep in a loft. You felt sharing a bed with your parents was going to be awkward. You were looking forward to a sleepover with your moms. You weren't too happy either, but didn't want to make a fuss. You thought it was unfair that Clove had to sleep on the floor. You know what? I do in fact think it's unfair that Clove has to sleep on the floor. But we're worried about me right now. Like, I definitely would be worried about me. But like, that's so rude. Why are you making him sleep on the floor? Who's driving this, by the way? Because if Mr. Holden's driving this and he has to sleep on the floor, that's not fair. That's not fair. He needs to be able to be wide awake and alert. After all, it was supposed to be a trip for him and his family before yours ended up coming along too. Now you have been kicked out of every bed-like space and put on the floor. There had to be another way to organize things, so it was better for him. You offered to sleep somewhere else. You suggested sharing the loft with Cove. I'm gonna offer to sleep somewhere else. I could sleep on the floor or wherever for one night, so Cove could have a turn in the loft instead. You announced your idea to the group, and everyone paused from what they were doing to consider it. Cove was taken aback by the consideration, like he hadn't thought about how he had clearly gotten the short end of the stick. There's no way you'd be sleeping in the back while I'm with moms. There's barely enough room for 3. We can't add a 4th. Okay, Elizabeth. Sometimes me and Elizabeth are gonna just square up. Like, maybe she just needs to be flicked in the throat a little bit. Maybe. Who's to say? Then I can be on the floor for a night, and he'll be on the floor for one night when Elizabeth's in the loft. No can do, princess. Sorry. The three of us all together down there is bonding time, is it? That's weird. That's weird, Mr. Holden. Cliff put one arm around Kyra's shoulders and the other around Cove, dragging them both into him. They smiled at his little shell. You are divorced. I hope. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say what I hope. I'm afraid we can't extend you an invite. You simply have to take the loft. Cove and his mom both shook their heads at Mr. Holden, as you had to agree that it was a pretty weak excuse as far as excuses go. They were just being hospitable to your family.
Don't worry about it.
Thanks, princess. It's alright. I can take the floor for 2 nights. And not settle the matter for good. Oh, okay. Alright, you lot. Does anyone have everything they need? We're heading out in 5 minutes. Now's the time to double check. You don't want to forget something important. At the word, Elizabeth yelped and dashed back into the house, her bedhead hair bouncing behind her as she went. Ma came over and gave you a smile, setting her hands on her hips. How about you, princess? Do you have all your clothes packed? Toiletries, deodorant, floss, anything else you can think of? You're confident you had it all. You weren't sure about that? Oh, you had to run back inside for something. You just gave her a flat look. I probably did forget something. Knowing me, I probably did forget something. But I do make checklists now for what I need. No, that's a lie. I make mental checklists. I don't make like physical checklists. I probably should make physical checklists. But like I usually have everything I need. And if I don't, my dad will buy it for me. Because I don't go anywhere. I don't travel anywhere but to see my dad. Sprinting up the stairs to the bathroom, you grabbed your toothbrush from beside the sink before heading back down. Oh, that's what I forgot. I was gonna get a stuffed animal. You were glad you reminded to grab it after having left it out to use this morning. It would have been embarrassing if you couldn't brush your teeth for the next few days. Your mom was still there, waiting with a knowing expression as she walked out again. What about my stuffed animals? I need to bring at least one of them with me for comfort. Got everything now, princess? Yeah. With a few minutes left to spare before leaving, you mentally went over what you had packed for the trip. Clothes, a pillow and blanket, usual day-to-day gear for most people. You also had more personal things, such as a portable gaming console, oh my gosh, pencil and paper, my favorite stuffed animal, of course. Without fail, it always made you feel more comfortable whenever you went somewhere new. It was like taking a little piece of home away with you. A bag of makeup? What do I need makeup for? Oh, I guess people do their makeup. I don't do my makeup. I only do my makeup for special occasions. The pajama shirt Cove gave you? Oh, it's so cute! Yeah, I'm adding that. You wanted to have something comfortable and special to wear on a trip like this, and you wanted Cove to know you were still using it. And of course, I gotta bring my portable gaming console. What year is this? Was it the 2DS or the 3DS that was out yet? The drive to the Redwood National Park would take an entire day one way, so you wanted to make sure you had a way to entertain yourself while traveling there and back. And I'll bring a book just in case that dies. You have packed one of your old favorites and a new one you'd never tried before. A book? How do you try a book? Don't you just read it? I did pick book, right? You knew you'd have plenty of time for them both on such a long drive. A ball. An MP3 player with headphones. Ooh, yeah, I need that too. Got my iPod. With so much time going to be spent driving in a car, you wanted to make sure you'd be able to have some music to put on. Do they still make iPods? Is it just exclusively iPhones now? That's crazy. It's so crazy. iPhones are like, not iPhones. iPods are so obsolete now. With so much time spent driving in the car, you wanted to make sure you'd be able to have some music to put on. Okay, and that's it. That's everything. Oh, she looks fancy. Hey, let me take that for you, princess. I'll store it in the RV. There's a few spots left. It'll fit. You let Kyra take your bag and gave her a grateful smile. With nothing left to do, you watched the others get ready for the trip. Kyra and Cliff seemed to have the most energy of anyone. They were finishing packing the suitcases away while your moms had gone to lock up the house. They high-fived whenever another one got crammed into the storage compartments of the vehicle. Even though your own parents were more low-key than Cove's, you could tell they were both excited for the trip. It had been a while since your family had been away anywhere together. I mean, yeah, why wouldn't they be excited for the trip? They wanted to do the trip. Of course they're excited for the trip. It's their trip, and we just latched on. Elizabeth skipped towards the RV, a bag slung over her shoulder, and you were surprised to see she seemed more optimistic about the whole ordeal now. Usually she wasn't one to exit the confines of her room unless it was for TV or food or to leave her family behind to be with friends. I mean, that's just what being a teenager's about. You would have thought 3 whole days packed in an RV with 6 others would be too much for her, but it was a nice surprise. You supposed any vacation was better than no vacation in her mind. Oh my god, I would hate that. I would hate that so much. Being on a 3-day trip with my crush in an RV, that's, like, as a teenager, that's terrifying. What if I have to pass gas? I'm gonna have to do that stuff quietly? And then there's no escape because then the silent ones, they're always the stinkiest. That's wild, that's crazy. At least, I mean, I plan on marrying him, so at least we'll get like a head start on it. On the gas passing. Cove had been pretty quiet so far, and more than anything, seemed to be overwhelmed by the situation. You know, I get it. I got anxiety too. This would have been too much for me. You were excited for the trip too. You weren't excited for the trip either. You were eager to get to the destination. You were curious about the RV. You didn't feel much either way about the plans. I'm curious about the RV. You'd never stayed overnight in one before and wanted to know what it'd be like. Soon, the miscellaneous remaining tasks had all been wrapped up. Everyone piled into the RV. It was officially time for the start of the trip. And it did. Cliff took the first shift driving. He cautiously navigated the massive car out of the narrow neighborhood streets. It was touch and go for the first part of the journey. Your moms and Kyra were all huddled at the front, trying to get a view of how much space they had on each side. There was a sense of relief when the first long leg of the trip was hit, and the RV would only need to go down one stretch of highway for miles. Ooh, miles. It's always crazy, because I lived in North Carolina when I was younger, and to get where I need to go, Ohio is such a long state. It's like the longest part of my drive. It's like a 4-hour drive to go through all of Ohio, just one way. And we went through the Amish country. I've never seen the Amish country before, and it was kind of magical. I'm not gonna lie, I love the little town vibes it had. But can I be Amish? No, that's too much work. That's too much work. I'm too prissy to be Amish. I'm too spoiled to be Amish. The mom group cleared out of the mom group. I love that. The mom group cleared out of the driver's area, leaving Cove's dad to it, taking more comfortable seats around the main cabin. You felt like you could finally relax now. Ooh, do we have snacks? I want snacks. Time slipped by as morning faded away. Are we getting breakfast? Did we eat? What are we eating? I'm so concerned about this food because I'm like, how many stops are we taking and all that? Before you realize it, the engine of the RV came to a stop, but only halted for a few moments as Cliff climbed out of the driver's seat and Mom took over. Oh, it's got that much gas? We're not going to a what are they called? Gas station? Mom was or those resource centers. They're not called resource centers, are they? If you've ever been driving through states in the United States, and they're like near the welcome to our state, or you're leaving our state, bye. They have those places, rest stops, that's what they're called, not resource centers. Oh my gosh. I hate rest stops so much. Oh, they're so icky and gross. Mom was sitting shotgun, and Mom gave a quick tutorial of the controls as it was her first time driving anything this large. Oh my gosh. You could not trust me to drive this RV. I sure the fuck would not. I can barely drive Gil's truck. And I crashed into a pole. I didn't crash. I couldn't see out of the window because there was a bunch of snow, so I just kept going. And then it stopped. And I was like, why are we stopped? I didn't stop yet. And so his front of his car is dented. So sorry, Gil. That's life. That's what you get for having me as your girlfriend. Mom was sitting shotgun, giving Mom a quick tutorial of the controls, as it was her first time driving anything this large. Cliff groaned as he headed towards the rest of you, stretching his arms above his head and loosening up his muscles. We're making good progress. Yeah, maybe you should take a nap in the back for a while. That was a long haul you did, and I know you're on less sleep than usual. Cliff waved a hand, that trademark grin of his slipping into place. I don't need sleep. I've still got a few miles in the old tank. Dad, everybody has to sleep. Cove shook his head at the tough guy act, though Cliff simply chuckled and ruffled his son's hair. Are you going to be driving again anytime soon, Mr. Holden? I want to know so I can prepare. Ooh. Did anyone pack some rope? I might need it. There's no seatbelts up here. Elizabeth, why are you like this? Why are you like this, Elizabeth? Elizabeth called down from where she was lounging in the loft above the driving compartment. Girl, why are you up there? Why are you up there right now? She was laying on her back, her hair falling over the side and swinging around as the RV started up again and took off down the road. That seems so dangerous to be up there in this little loft area while someone's driving. That just seems like an accident waiting to happen. She was laying on her back, her hair falling over the side and swinging around as the RV started up again and took off down the road. A bag of potato chips was balanced on Elizabeth's stomach, and she tossed a couple in her mouth, right as Cliff held a hand to his chest, pretending to be offended by the remark. Kyra laughed light-heartedly. Lucky for us. Lucky for all of us, we have enough adults to cover the shifts today. He won't be driving again until tomorrow. You stayed quiet. You shook your head at the ribbing. Phew, that's a relief. Just enough time to write up my last will and testament. We shouldn't gang up on the poor guy. It's not his driving I'm worried about. I'm gonna stay quiet. I don't care about this conversation enough. You didn't have anything to add to the conversation, but it was pretty funny all the same. Mom then shouted back in her seat to join the conversation, a playful smile tilting her lips. What I'm more worried about is this old monster getting us there and back again before falling apart. It looks as though it was built in the early 90s. It must be older than some of the occupants. Hey now, I was born in the 90s, just not the early 90s. That's just the aesthetic of the decor. It's not that old, I think. Did you ask what year the model was before you rented it? Kara wrinkled her nose in thought. Yes, I did. I just can't remember what the answer was. Cliff chuckled at her while the rest of you let out a collective sigh. Girl, it's okay. It's okay, Kyra. My memory's shit too. The RV lurched a little as it picked up speed and you held onto the ladder to the loft to keep your balance. You felt something graze the top of your head before a weight settled on your blue hair. Who the hell? When you lifted your chin up carefully to look, you heard the rustling of a bag of chips and realized Elizabeth had rested the end of it on your head. Elizabeth, I'm going to choke you. I'm going to give you the people's elbow. How dare you do this to me? She gestured to the opening, silently offering to share her snack. Oh, you're sharing. Okay, fine. Fine, I'll accept it. This time. Reaching up, you scooped up some chips after the weight of the packet left your scalp. That's such an odd sentence. You happily munched away as the conversation continued on and you got closer and closer to your destination. The day flew by with the group of you chatting, playing games, and passing time together before finally arriving at the park and setting up for the night. Ma was closing the windows while everyone got ready for bed, saying goodnight to the others as she made her way to the back room. You had all had dinner together while still driving, and some hours after you had arrived at your destination and found a spot to park in for the rest of your stay. Giving a look across the front of the RV, you noticed almost everyone there was already dozing off where they were, with Cove having completely fallen asleep curled up in the passenger seat. Aww, that's so cute. He must have done so while Kyra was driving the last leg, and they had decided not to disturb him. Kyra herself was the only one up there who was still awake, flipping through a magazine next to a portable light from her spot on the couch, a seat Mr. Holden needed to sleep despite his claims. It'd be like that. You follow your moms to the back room and close the door behind you before crawling onto the bed between them. It was a queen-size bed, so there was enough room for the three of you together without too much squishing. That's not true. That's not true at all. Queen-size beds aren't that big. We need a king. You're in a king bed. Get a good rest, princess. We've got a big day ahead of us tomorrow. Ooh, what are we doing tomorrow? I'm looking forward to the bushwalk in the morning. It's been a long time since I was out in nature like this. Bushwalk. Or walking in the bushes? I hope not. I don't trust the bushes. I have a fear of bushes. They're very scary. I do not trust them. There will be plenty for us to see. You stayed awake for a little while longer while your moms whispered about the park and forest in general. With the sound of their voices in the background, eventually you nod off to sleep. The next morning, you were up bright and early preparing for the day ahead. You had slept well, you slept okay, I slept okay. You know what, I don't know how my moms sleep, but my mom in real life, if I was sleeping with my mom and my grandma, oh my god, I would have had the worst sleep ever. You know what, I'm gonna say I had the worst sleep ever. I had terrible sleep. There hadn't been enough room for you to spread out or readjust your position. The mattress was uncomfortable and it became hot with two other people next to you. That's exactly how I feel. Me and Gil, we made like a pillow fort, and it was so uncomfortable, but I wanted to make a pillow fort because that's our tradition during Christmas. But because the house is so small, we didn't have enough room, so I was all squished up and I hated it. I never want to do it again. Not here, at least not here. Mom whined a bit about the firmness of the mattress, but Mom had only encouraged her to enjoy the trip while she could. While looking for a spot to get ready, you had some trouble finding a space of your own as the others were doing the same thing. Cove was perched on top of the counter, brushing his hair and tucking up his legs every time someone wanted to move past. The parents were checking, double-checking, and triple-checking that you had everything to the point where you had stopped listening to them altogether. You knew you wouldn't be returning to the RV at all today, but by the look of the backpacks that were packed up and ready to go, you doubted anything was missing from them. It didn't take much longer until you all exited the RV in a bustle and headed into the Redwood National Park. Oh, this background's so nice. This background is so nice. That's what I meant to say, but then I got shook. I was shook by this. Was not prepared. I was not prepared to see him in this. Wow. Cove had his head tilted up towards the canopy of trees, his eyes wide as he took in the massive trunks on either side of you. Like, why? Why is he wearing this, yeah? But with his shorts, they don't match. They don't match, and that bothers me. It bothers me slightly that they do not match. Why this color, though? Like, I don't care that it's pink and purple. I don't care about that. I just want to know why. Like, do you genuinely like this color? I mean, go off if you do. I'm not judging you. It doesn't match. I'm so stuck on that. It doesn't match. Cove had his head tilted up towards the canopy of trees, his eyes wide as he took in the massive trunks on either side of you. You knew that the redwood trees here were considered the tallest trees on Earth, but you weren't prepared for exactly how huge they would be in person. You know what? I think I would like to see these trees. I feel like I have a magical experience looking at trees. These trees, not just trees in general, but like big, large trees. I don't know, something about like being in like, they're not called, what are they called? A cove? Or not a cove. It's not a cove if it's on land. And it's like not a field, but a tiny little space surrounded by trees. But like there's like a little space that's not part of the trees. You know what? It doesn't matter. I just think it'd be nice and I want to be there. I dream about going there, but then I remember bugs. Smell you too. You spun just in time for Kyrie to snap a picture of you and Cove together before she pointed her camera at Cove, trying to get a shot despite his weak protest that she should just enjoy the moment. Your parents were walking behind the group a little, with Mom telling Ma some information she had read about the park in a brochure. Ma listened happily while looking around and taking in the sights, every now and then asking a question or making a joke about something Mom had said. You smiled at them, thinking that your moms must have read a lot of pamphlets to know so much about the park. Maybe you should come and work here as a tour guide, if you know so much about the place. Janosuke, you're back! Welcome back! How is your doggy? Are they properly walked? Are they refreshed? Are they tired? Elizabeth teased, earning a squeeze on the nose from your mom. She seemed to be enjoying herself, but you thought that might just be because she was amused by everyone else's reactions. You were in all the redwood trees. You were fascinated by the sensations surrounding you. No, not the sensations. I'd never be fascinated by the sensations. You were in a good mood. You weren't as impressed as the others. You were embarrassed that the adults were being so touristy. I don't give a fuck. I want a tree. Surrounding you on either side, the enormous trees shot up into the sky, the sunlight peeking through their canopy and speckling the path in front of you. Have you guys ever laid on the ground under a tree and looked up? It's such a magical experience. And also like one of the few small moments in time where I'm like, yeah, I think I enjoy being alive. It's so peaceful and nice. But then you gotta watch though, because there might be a bug that falls on you, or a bird will poop on you, and then you're not okay, and your whole day's ruined. So be careful. Just small walk, cause it's a bit icky outside. Don't your dog to roll in the wet grass. Understandable. I take Jax on small walks too, like very small walks, cause I gotta build up my stamina. Okay, I have to readjust the chair. Ooh, not you doing that. I'm gonna have to readjust the chair later. Where was I? The sheer size of the redwoods made you feel like a tiny ant bustling along through the forest. The adults had decided on some casual nature walks rather than any serious hiking, and you strode along at your own pace, taking in the scenery. Yeah, I'm a slow walker. I've always been a slow walker. So I don't suggest anyone walk with me unless they want to be walking super slow. Elizabeth sped up a little, smirking at Cove as she fell into place between the two of you, and immediately you could tell by her expression she was going to say something taunting. Elizabeth, don't start this. Don't start this. We're on vacation. I can't believe our families are actually on vacation together. She threw her arms out, speaking with a genuine sense of bewilderment. I would have joked about something like this happening, but now I'm not sure I want to give them any more ideas. Cole smiled at her, even if it was a little awkwardly, and continued walking along. Just watch. Next year, they'll be talking about their next new amazing idea. She put on a fake voice deeper than her own. We should just sell both our houses and move in together. Think of how much money we'd save on the mortgage. Oh my god, don't do that. Don't say that. I'm not ready for that. Yeah, you will let them be more free, otherwise just raining a bit often lately. It is. It rained yesterday. It was nice. It hasn't rained today, I don't think, but I think it's gonna rain. It's either gonna rain tomorrow or Friday. Hopefully it rains Friday. Nope. Actually, yeah, I hope it does rain Friday, because you know what that means? I can take me a nice little nap after I get my treatment done. Ooh, love this. Love this for me. I hope it rains Friday. It was clear that Elizabeth was being sarcastic. Cole simply shook his head, not really bothered by her. You supposed he was used to it by this point. What kind of weather do you guys like? I like rainy weather. I like stormy weather. I think it's nice. Now, I don't really like it when the lightning's too bright or the thunder's too loud. But a nice little rumble and a nice little lightning strike here and there, it's nice. It's nice. I enjoy it. But seriously, they really do act like we're a single family just because we live across the street from each other. I mean, are we not gonna be a single family soon? Elizabeth gave you and Cove a look, her eyes glinting with mischief as she glared at you. Maybe one day we will be related. Legally, anyway. She said it as though she was a gossipy old lady. Okay, Elizabeth. Okay, girl. But she almost immediately dropped the tone and nonchalantly said her real thoughts. At least, that's what Ma thinks. Ooh. Why are you telling her business like that? Cove still blushed, which made Elizabeth smile triumphantly, as though that was her whole purpose for teasing him. We already know. Elizabeth likes the drama. She likes the heat. She likes the attention. I get it. I understand. It runs in the family. It's genetic. It's genetic even though we're both adopted. Then he mumbled quietly, refusing to make eye contact with either of you. I don't know why you think you're so funny when no one else does. Ooh, get her. You told her to cut it out already, Cove was a point. It wasn't a great comment. I'll marry you, Cove. What if I said that? You ignored Elizabeth. You were embarrassed. You know what? Let's be bold. I've never been shy about having a crush on people. I'm just gonna say it. I'll marry you, Cove. I love that. He looked at you in disbelief. He genuinely could not believe this is where the conversation had gone. I mean, why not? What I got to lose? You seem like a great catch, Cove. Don't worry over it. You can take as long as you need to think on that. Cove frowned and reddened harder, but pretended to ignore what you were saying. You're such a notice what was happening. Oh, he isn't going to engage with this topic. He groaned at the continued teasing and increased the speed of his walk. Not him running away. What if we chased him while we were just talking about marriage stuff and making puns? That'd been hilarious. That'd be hilarious. I would love to do that. The day continued on with plenty to see and experience. You passed a few different activities that you would have liked to try out if you had the time, such as kayaking and rock climbing. But Ma said that would have to wait for another trip. That's not true at all. I do not want to go rock climbing. I'm afraid of heights. I do not want to go kayaking because what if we go over a waterfall? What then? Then I'm gonna die. There was a little stream during the walk that you sat beside and set out a picnic for lunch, nibbling on a selection of fruit sandwiches and chips. Various birds flew by overhead and you made a game out of guessing the species that were hanging out in the trees nearby. That does not sound like me. This is not me. I'm not a bird person. Me and birds, we got beef. The only birds that I tolerate are Song's birds, Megan's birds, and Marie's birds. Those are the only three group of birds that I will tolerate, and I would be like, oh, cute, love that for you. But birds in general, no. The only bird I like is a penguin, and that's how it's gonna stay. And they're even on thin ice. Not a pun on penguins, but they're on thin ice because I found out what their feet look like. They got legs. They have legs. Do you know that? And they have ear holes. Like, yeah, they need to hear, but they don't need ear holes. I didn't need to know I didn't need to know that, okay? I did not need to see the ear holes. I did not need to see the legs. I was content just thinking they were just fluffy. And they have feathers. Ugh, disgusting. Okay, I'm done talking about penguins. I do love penguins, though. I think they're so fucking cute. Anyway, you did manage to get a couple of them right, including the kingfisher that grabbed half of Cliff's sandwich. Poor Mr. Holden. It's okay. You were glad you got to do this in the end. You were disappointed to only have one day in the park. You thought the long trip wasn't worth only one day here. You had more fun hanging out in the RV. You hadn't had a good time with this trip. You thought the long trip was, nope, it's not worth only one day. It's not worth that to me. A whole day to get here, do one day of activities, and then a whole day to get back? No. Could not be me. Will not be me. What you saw today was only a fraction of what the park offered, and you wondered why Cove's parents hadn't planned a longer trip. You sighed quietly to yourself, wondering if you'd get the chance to come back. Your group made it back to camp just as the sun was setting in the sky and the stars were appearing one by one. Everyone had enjoyed different parts of it most. You traded stories of what you thought while you were eating dinner, then afterwards you pitched in to help clean up. You, along with Elizabeth and Cove, got to head back to the RV early and spend some time together while the parents stayed outside longer. It was nice to have the space to yourselves after the cramped journey there, and while Elizabeth had locked herself in the back room with her headphones, you and Cove were left in the main lounge area. Do you guys feel like I'm reading weird? Because I feel like I'm reading weird. You headed up the loft to relax on your own. Let's hang out with Cove. Let's hang out with Bestie. At this point, though, I probably would have gone up to the loft. Because my social battery would be drained. We might as well get comfortable. Who knows how long they'll be out for. He's still wearing this? Why are you wearing this? Why can't you just wear your red gecko shirt? What is this? What is this for? You took a seat on the sofa while Cove sat down on the other end, tapping his fingers against his knees. Your cheeks warmed a little at that. Being close to him never felt to feel exciting. Oh, that's so cute. You'd seen Cove nearly every day for the past 5 years, but seeing him in a jacket was still somewhat unusual. In Southern California, he could get away with that. Where are we? In America, what is our geolocation? It was a simple difference from his normal style. You couldn't help noticing the way he looked right now. It looked great on him. Well, we live off the beach, so we're not in a landlocked state. That's all I got, though. All I got is that we're not in a landlocked state, and his mom used to live in Nevada. Or Utah. She lived in a landlocked state. In fact, Cove always looked nice. Not his facial expressions changing. When Cove cleared his throat, your eyes snapped to his. He had an eyebrow raised and had clearly caught you staring at him. Is everything okay? You averted your gaze from him entirely. Yeah, don't worry about it. It looks nice on you. Yeah, everything is really good. You nodded while saying nothing. That looks nice on you. Cove immediately blushed at the unexpected compliment. What? He didn't say anything more than that one-word question. You decided to elaborate further. You know, I hardly ever see you wearing a jacket, especially in summer. Oh, yeah. I like wearing as few layers as possible. It's easier that way. I'd rather be cold than extra hot, but it's kind of a pain to carry extra clothes around. My parents made me bring this jacket. Cove gets it. He gets it. Because I would rather be cold than hot as well. So that's why I don't mind cold weather. I can layer up. But in hot weather, I say this all the time. Once you take off all your clothes, you're still gonna be hot. And you can't peel off your skin. So that's why I prefer cold weather over hot weather. That's just it. It's superior. I'm the same way. I don't mind either way. I love wearing layers. I love layers and accessories too. I'm the same way. I'm gonna be for real. I don't like wearing a lot of clothes either. They're bulky and heavy and they usually make me feel too warm. Cove smiled Cove smiled lightly at you and nodded. I've noticed. Oh, not him noticing. Okay, Cove. Mac Daddy over here. You perked up hearing that. He noticed you too? You changed the subject. You asked him what he likes to see others wear. Why not? Let's find out. Not as flirting with my sister in the other room. That's crazy. Hey, what kind of things do you think are nice to see on other people? On another person? Cole's eyes widened at the question, and his defensive reply seemed to slip out before he had the chance to have a proper think about it. Nothing. Oh. Nothing. You laughed out loud and Cove gave you a dry look. Come on, that's not what I meant. You sure? Because that's the first thing that came out of your mouth. You composed yourself and sat up straighter, all traces of laughter disappearing from your face. Answer with what you do mean then. Isn't there anything at all you think looks good when you see it on someone? Cove mumbled under his breath and couldn't quite catch the words. He was having a difficult time with the subject. It was a topic that made him comfortable, so you let it go. You had a little fun, and that was enough. You changed the subject. You're not very good at these conversations, are you? I swear I won't make fun of you. I just thought it would be fun to talk about. You know what? He's uncomfortable. Let's change the subject. I'll let it go. You didn't want to push him any further, so you didn't insist. The parents all arrived soon after, each of them climbing into the RV and finding some place to sit down and rest their legs. Elizabeth, having heard the commotion, came out from the room for the first time since arriving and joined you all. You spent the evening chatting and playing a few games, enjoying the last evening of the trip together. Bedtime arrived within the blink of an eye. As the group hunkered down for the night, your mom did a final round to be sure nothing had been left behind. She explained that Cliff was going to start driving early in the morning, like on the first day, but would be letting everyone else in the group sleep. There wouldn't be a need for all of them to get up. Now was the time to check you hadn't left anything outside. You, as well as everyone else, was confident you had it all packed up inside the RV, which meant it was time to get some rest before the journey home tomorrow. Your moms and Elizabeth said goodnight, heading to the back room, while you climbed up to the loft. Cove and his family got situated below in the previous set arrangement. You tried to get comfortable as a million thoughts were running through your mind. It was hard to believe that the trip was practically over, and before you knew it, you'd be back in your own bed at home. You enjoyed this mini adventure. You thought the trip had been okay. You thought the trip was a waste of time. You hadn't had a good time. You know what? It's an okay trip. You couldn't remember doing anything particularly exciting, but it was a nice change of pace from the ordinary. The minutes ticked by silently. It didn't take long for the soft stories of Cliff and Kyra to drift up to you. They were asleep now. You wondered if Cove was still awake and decided to poke your head out from the loft to find out. You blinked through the darkness. Looking down the hall, you noticed Cove was lying on his back, eyes staring straight up at the ceiling. His seafoam hair was spread out on his sleeping bag. He must have felt you watching him because suddenly his eyes locked on yours. It was difficult to see much in the dim light, but you could make out the crooked smile on his face well enough. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. I'm gonna make a silly face. I can't be normal for a second. Cove rolled his eyes at you, or at least you thought he did. You then gestured for him to come over. You then went back to trying to sleep. You then decided to have fun quietly. I'm gonna gesture for him to come over. Cove looked unsure about it, but you were happy to see him slowly start to sit up anyway. His sleeping bag rustled as he moved, though he tried to go slow and froze up like a deer in the headlights every time he made a sound, watching his parents for any sign of movement. Eventually, he managed to maneuver around his sleeping dad and make it to the ladder, standing on the bottom rung where he looked up at you and whispered. He opened his mouth to speak before it shut closed for another second. Oh, look at his shirt. My shirt. Look at my shirt you got there. Is that my shirt? Uh-huh. I use it a lot. Well, okay. Thanks. Oh my god, no! This is so cute! I'm dying. This is so cute. For what?
It's nice.
I don't know. Liking it, I guess. He was so sweet. You were feeling very glad to have brought it. Then Cove shook his head to refocus. No! Why did you call me? Oh, it was nothing. Good night. How are you doing? You invited him up to the loft. I feel like if I invite him up to the loft, he's not gonna come. Oh, it was nothing. I'm gonna say good night. Cove shook his head in disbelief, but you could see the hint of a smile peeking out. Good night, princess. He turned right around and crept back to the spot on the floor. You lay down, shuffling onto your back and looking up at the rivets set in the roof of the RV through the dark. At some point, your eyes grew heavy and gently drifted off into a deep sleep. When you woke up the next morning, it was to the rumble of the RV as it traveled the long journey home. Still blinking sleepily, you peeked over the edge of the loft to get a glimpse at what was happening. Cove was sitting with his mom on the couch, the two of them talking quietly. He must have noticed you moving around up there because Cove's ocean blue eyes snapped to yours and he gave you a smile. Morning, princess. Good morning, Cove. Soon your moms and Elizabeth emerged from their room, dressed and ready for the day of travel. You spent most of the day hanging out together in the RV, savoring the last few hours of vacation. Kyra suggested a few different travel games she used to play with Cove when he was younger, and you all had a great time competing against each other. When the RV finally pulled onto your street, it was well into the night, and you were looking forward to crawling into your own bed after the last few days away. Everyone else must have been feeling the same, because it was mutually agreed that unpacking and cleaning the RV would wait until tomorrow. Once home again, you went straight up to your room and dropped into your bed, shoes and all. Ooh, not shoes and all. You were happy to be in your own bed. It felt weird to be alone. It felt good to be alone. You wish you were still on the trip. You missed being near Cove. I'm happy to be back in my own bed. Oof. Best feeling ever was when you're on vacation. And when you come home and you get to return to your own bed. It's the most beautiful feeling in the world. You stretched out with a smile on your face, enjoying having the space all to yourself. With those last few thoughts drifting through your mind, it wasn't long before you dozed off to sleep. Tomorrow, life would go on like normal. Ooh. Okay, we're about to do the last memory for adolescence. I'm gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna run an ad real quick. Just a short one, and then we'll get right to it. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Ooh. This is me drinking water. My mouth was dry. All that reading. Oh my gosh, all the reading. What's happening? If you didn't get like an ad, tell me, what's poppin'? What's happening? What's up? What's going down? What's the buzz? Where's the beef? Merry Christmas. Or not, you don't have to tell me a single thing. You don't have to tell me a single thing. You can just be here, just vibe, just listen to me talk about absolutely fucking nothing. Or you can be watching the ad. I'm not gonna touch anything until all the ad's done. It says it's almost done, I think. Ooh. I love how when I switch between Stream Manager and mod view, the ad time is just so different. I don't know why that is. But let's not worry about it right now. Let's continue with the last memory Are these called moments? They're called moments. The last moment of our adolescence starts. Soiree. Oh, is our cousin gonna come back? Lee, I miss her. I miss Lee. You whiled away the morning, doing whatever struck your fancy, and now you are recharging with lunch. With nothing on the horizon, you were free to spend as much or as little time on your plate as you wanted. It was while you were thinking on all the possibilities for your afternoon that your moms approached you. Hi, princess. You okay? Mouthful, you nodded in reply. To your surprise, they both sat with you at the table. Based on the time, you had wondered if they were joining you for a meal, but neither of them brought anything. Great. We wanted to have a little chat with you. Ooh, what is this about? What is this about? The qualifier little did nothing to downplay the situation. You were chewing slowly as your eyes widened, looking from one parent to the other. Anything that required both of them to talk to you must be something big. Exactly. Like, this is intimidating. I don't like it here. It was unsettling. You perked up, your mind full of exciting possibilities. You irritated at the interruption. Irritated at the interruption. You groaned. I am gonna groan. What do you want? Nothing good came of any conversation that had been announced ahead of time. You weren't sure you even wanted to know. Exactly, I'm eating. Can't this wait till I'm done eating? Don't be like that. It's going to be a good chat. There's a soiree at the Cypress tomorrow night. Your mom and I are going. Why didn't you tell me about this before? Like, when did you know about this soiree, and why are you inviting me now? You know I need a week in advance before you can just invite me places to events without, like, kidnapping me. Unless it's Cove, then I don't care. I don't care when he invites me. The Cypress was a country club your moms were part of, and where Elizabeth played golf. She's still playing golf. Good for her. It seemed like every other month they had some event or another, all with fancy names like soiree. Sighing, you drummed your fingers and waited for the grand reveal. Mom chuckled at your poorly concealed reaction. Leaning in, Ma took your hand and squeezed it. Oh, why? We've decided to make the night a bit special. Elizabeth's going to be allowed to stay home fully alone for the first time. Oh, wait, hold on. Why do I have to come? Can I go somewhere else? Why does she get to stay home by herself? Why can't I stay home by myself? You'll still be coming to the party with us. It's Elizabeth's okay, let me start over. You'll still be coming to the party with us. It's Elizabeth's night to party with no family around, not yours. Sorry. You've got to wait a couple more years. Wait, so she's having a party? That's not fair. You were disappointed by the news? Alright, I can go. That's not fair. I don't give a fuck about this soiree. What isn't? Ooh, I want to stay home too. She had a sitter when she was your age. Being left alone for most of the night would be dangerous, and we have to make sure you're ready. But don't complain too much yet. Hold on. She's 15. That means I'm 13. I stayed home all the time by myself when I was 13. Because my brother's 4 years older than me, so he was always hanging out with his friends. And then my mom worked. Yeah, I was home a lot. Not for like hours on hours, but I was home for a bit by myself when I was 13. Yes, you might change your mind about staying when you hear what we've got for you. What do you got? What's going to be at the soiree? Who's going to be there? Temporarily placated, you held your retorts back and listened. Your parents shared a look across the table. You cleared your throat, reminding them that you were waiting. They couldn't keep dropping such hints and then turn coy when the conversation was about to get good. Since it's a pretty fancy party that's still chaperoned, and attendees are allowed to bring a guest, we thought it might be a nice opportunity for you to invite someone yourself as a date, if you want. Not my mom's being my wingman. My wing woman, I should say. My girlies, my wing ladies. Your eyes widened as the words sunk in. Your mom's continued, and it was a struggle to keep up. Even though we'll be at the party too, you don't need to worry about us getting in your way. You'll be free to eat, dance, and enjoy the music as you see fit. But no leaving the property. Ooh, okay, fine. Ma nodded at Mom's interjection. Yes, as long as you don't leave the party, and if you'd rather bring just a friend, that's okay too. That's amazing how disappointing. You didn't even know how to react. How do I react to this situation? Like, okay, thanks, I guess. Your parents were smiling at you, clearly expecting a response, but you were still too shocked to formulate anything of the kind. You hadn't imagined this was where the talk was going. The soiree isn't until tomorrow, so you've got time. Just let us know your plans before we're heading out. Listen, that means I have to get a dress. I have to find a date. That date has to have an outfit available. I mean, I don't have to wear a dress. But if I'm gonna be looking cute, I gotta go with a dress. Unless we get like a tuxedo and like tuxedo shorts. I've always loved those outfits and I've always been jealous. I've always been jealous of the boys. Like the little boys, they get to wear like the tuxedo like suit and they get the shorts. I've always wanted to wear that outfit. I'm so jealous. I can't wear it. They don't make those outfits for me. The soiree is until tomorrow. I've got time. Okay, yeah. And that's all. We'll leave you to your lunch now. I sure do be eating. Your moms rose from their chairs in unison, disappearing to another part of the house. You barely noticed their departure. All you could think of was what had just happened. The remnants of your lunch stared up at you from your plate. You felt that you should finish eating. You lost your appetite. You were glad to go. I'm glad to go back to eating my fat ass. You wolfed down the rest of your food, clearing your plate as you thought about how you'd like to spend tomorrow evening. Even though you relocated to your bedroom, your head was stuck on the conversation that had unfolded at the dining table downstairs. You knew that having someone come as a friend would be best. You wanted it to be a date. You didn't want to bring anyone. It was way too soon to pick one way or another. I'm trying to put myself in this situation. As a date, I wasn't allowed to date as a teenager. I had my first date at 17. And I mentioned it before, my parents came with me. This has been unheard of. I did have that boyfriend. You know, I would want it to be a date. I was a lonely child. You wanted it to be a date. The prospect of having your first date made it impossible to sit still. You couldn't help but jiggle your foot as you laid on your bed, contemplating the possibility. That night being a date would mean actually asking someone out. The little you knew of that came from what you'd seen on TV and movies and what you heard about from kids at school. Your moms hadn't even entertained the idea of you dating until now. Exactly. They're so wishy-washy. You went over possible words and phrases in your head, setting up scenarios and smooth segues before tearing them down and trying something else. Oh, I'm making this so complicated. You realized that you'd been mentally scripting Cope as the one you were asking. Who else am I gonna ask? Derek? No, I don't have his DLC. It had been his name repeating inside your mind, his face lighting up as you invited him to join you. You buried your face in your pillow, not wanting to continue after noticing. You laughed awkwardly at yourself. Smiling, you closed your eyes at the daydream crystallizing in your head. I would probably bury my face in my pillow from smiling. It's these two that I'm gonna pick, not the awkwardness. I don't really care them. I know I'm awkward. I've always been awkward. I've never not been awkward. You let your train of thought continue a little longer. You clearly pictured his eyes, the way he rubbed his arm when he was nervous, and tried your best to guess what he might do next. Ooh, young love. It was nice. You liked him. You knew you were supposed to be friends, but you just liked him a lot. You wouldn't be able to stop thinking of him, even if you wanted to, and you didn't. This is cute. Oh my gosh. Sighing, you shifted positions on the bed, resting your arm on the windowsill. A flock of birds caught your eye and led your gaze as they crossed the sky. Fuck them birds. You watched the birds grow smaller and less distinct until they disappeared from sight. You know what I do? I do like watching birds in the sky. That's the only time I'll allow a bird to be gazed upon by myself. Like the snap of a hypnotist's fingers, you were released from the trance and left with a goal of your own. You were going to go take a walk. Oop, this is about to get interesting. You ambled through the familiar streets of your neighborhood, picking your path at whim. It was as quiet as ever, with tourists choosing to congregate in the shopping area near the beach rather than venture to the sleepy residential zones. You continued down the road and soon found yourself at the shore. Oh my gosh, what if that little bitch is here? What was his name? Lucas? Laramie? The fresh, salty air hits you first, rolling to meet you over the grassy dunes that tickle your legs, followed by the familiar view of the sea stretching out across the horizon. You came to a halt. A lone figure was standing in the ocean. In the ocean? Why are you in the ocean? The water reaching up to his knees. What are you doing in the ocean? You're just standing there in the ocean? That's weird. Are you okay? Do you need to talk? Though he had his back to you, you recognized his familiar silhouette as Cove's. It made sense that you'd find him here. He always was in his element by the sea. Yeah, but why are you standing there? You're just gonna stand there in the ocean? Maybe you should sit down. Maybe don't sit down right there since it's at your knees. Maybe sit down like a little further back where it's more shallow. You had no idea if he heard your arrival or if it was a coincidence, but he looked over his shoulder. Your eyes met. You smiled, you waved, you called out, you nervously headed closer, you confidently headed closer. I'm gonna be nervous. I'm a nervous person. I've always been nervous. That's not true. I used to be confident sometimes. My confidence comes from me not thinking. That's where my confidence comes from. If I'm thinking about it, I'm not confident. You felt your feet kept trying to trip you up and your eagerness to reach Cove, but you managed to keep from falling over and making a fool of yourself. Cove smiled at you, bathed in the soft light of the afternoon sun. With his hair gently tousled by the sea breeze, he looks especially charming. He then fully turned around and began to wade through the water over to the shore. You wanted him to get to you already. You could barely wait to talk about this. You hoped he took his time to come over. You were nervous about this. You relaxed after running to him. You were all right with all this. I would just want to get it out of the way. Heart aflutter, you wondered what you were going to say to him when he reached you. The question of whether to invite him, and if so, in what fashion, was in front of you, between leaping into a world unknown or enjoying the safety of the familiar. Oh, I was not expecting him to be shirtless. Oh, he's got different shorts on, finally. Finally! Hey, princess, are you free right now? Not exactly. My moms are taking me to a soiree tomorrow at the country club. It was kind of a strange segue, but you wanted to get right to the point. A soiree. Oh my god. A soiree. Huh? Sounds exciting. He was smiling politely, but you could tell that your outing mention hadn't sparked much interest. That didn't come as much of a surprise to you. Formal affairs and big gatherings were some of his least favorite things. Oh my god. Do I understand that so much? But you were sure he'd attend if you were the one who invited him. You only had to do it. Colt tilted his head curiously at you. You resolved to make it a date. You asked him to join you as a friend only. You decided not to ask him at all. You didn't want to force him to come. I mean, he's free. He's free to decline. You decided not to ask him at all. You didn't have a good feeling. You didn't feel like having a guess. I'm gonna ask him as a date. I said I was gonna ask him out. I'm gonna ask him out. Baby boy, do you want to go out with me? As a date, as a lover, I don't know. Not a lover, we're too young. Cove continued to watch you expectantly. It was kind of thrilling to keep him in suspense. Princess? Cove, I want you to be my date for the party. Do you want to go on a date with me? Oh, should I say it fast? Do you want to go on a date with me? Is it like that? My parents said it was alright if I brought a date, and would you go to the party with me as a practice date? I don't know. This one's very safe. This one is very safe. This one also seems like me. This one, though, I don't know. I probably wouldn't say it like this. Do you want to be my date for the party? That's too confident. I'm not that confident. Do you want to go on a date with me? The words tumbled from your mouth. It was a miracle that they were all in the right order. Caught off guard, he lifted his hands in front of his chest out of surprise. Then he packed them down in a cross over his chest. What? What does that mean? I don't think I understand what that means. He twisted his face to the side. No longer able to meet your eyes, he still couldn't hide the flush in his cheeks. Not the voice. Oh my god. Are you serious? I'm as serious as something serious. It's very serious, is what I'm saying. His lips were pressed tightly together, preventing any more words from slipping out. You could tell that he was nervous, but that was always easy to pick up on with him. After another moment, what? Is he okay? Should I not have asked him? Are you okay? After another moment, he inclined his head, dipping it and a nod so slight that you might have missed it had you been able to tear your eyes from him. Oh, he said yes. I did not get that. My reading comprehension, down the drain. It's out in the middle at the bottom of the sea. Yay, really? You excel deeply. Thank you. You're welcome. Really? I need confirmation. I need you to confirm it, please. Cove closed his eyes, trapped in his awkward pose. He was gripping his arms so tightly that the skin around his knuckles were fully taut. Are you okay? Cove exhaled at last, letting out a sigh that stretched into another tense silence. His stance loosened. His arms stayed crossed over his chest, but he was no longer clutching them like a shield. You didn't want to be the one to break the quiet. Thanks, princess. Oop, for what? What did I do? I guess I'm gonna have to tell my dad and mom, too. Right. I've gotta let my moms know you're going. Can you come with me? Yeah. It was a relief that he'd thought enough to manage speech again. You hoped that by the time he got to your house, he'd be able to manage full sentences once more. I didn't get that extra confirmation I was looking for, but I guess his little nod did something. Cove went to where he discarded his things in the sand, tucking his shirt over his head and slipping on a pair of shoes before joining you in setting off home. What shirt are you wearing? Are you wearing another gecko shirt? I want to know, because you changed shorts. So I want to know, are you wearing the same shirt too? The two of you stepped inside the front of your house. It was an action you've taken together countless times, but your stomach had never churned quite like this on previous occasions. Oh no, my tummy hurts. I got a tummy ache. Oh yeah, he's wearing the shirt. Okay. At the sound of the door opening, your mom poked her head into the hall. I was hoping it was a different shirt, but you never know with this man. Hello. Ah, Cove, it's you. What a surprise. She chuckled at her own joke. Cove was always there, and she knew how close the two of you were. Bringing anyone other than him back would have been an actual surprise. What happened to Sheldon? What's his name, Sheldon? What's his name, like Brimey or something? The little kid that used to hang out with us? I miss him. He was adorable. Hi, Mr. Rigel. It's nice to see you. So I take it Cove's going to be our guest for tomorrow night? Of course, Mom. Of course, you know that. Stop playing these games. Yep. And what kind of outing will it be? Why do you need to know? Can you chill? You don't need to know everything, Mom. Let me have some privacy, please. Her voice was hesitant but serious. Cove ducked his head down reflectively. He knew that he'd figured out what she was driving at. You know what it is. You couldn't bring yourself to speak. What does it look like? I'm not gonna say that. That feels a bit hostile. It's a date. Mom nodded in understanding. She wore a wispy smile. Mom's gonna be thrilled about this. Not my other mom rooting for us. We're her OTP. Cove tilted his head back up just slightly. He peeked through the longer strands of his hair. Just her, Mr. Rigel? Even if you'd not been able to see his wide, worried eyes, you'd have heard the anxiety in his voice. Your mom sighed and patted him on the arm. What's happening? Oh, Cove, you're a great kid. Most parents hope that their kid meets such a special person someday. She glanced aside, a wry expression on her face. What is happening? Did I miss something? Someday is the real key word there. She turned back to you both. What is happening? Did I miss something? But you just had to move in right across the street at 8 years old. I'm confused. I am confused. Hold on. Log. It's a date. She's gonna be thrilled about this. Just her. Oh, is Mom saying that she's not thrilled? Man, Mom's our biggest hater, huh? I thought it was Elizabeth that was our biggest hater, but it'd be your own mom. It'd be your own mom. Mom crouched down, shaking her head, and put a hand on each of Cove's shoulders. Okay. Cove, I hope you're planning on being a very good princess, and I'm not just talking about tomorrow night. We're not together. It's not official. He's not my boyfriend. It's okay. It's chill. Chill out. Chill out. Are you guys freaking out? I'm freaking out. I don't know why I'm freaking out. I really put myself in this position, huh? She nudged him playfully on the cheek with a fist. Ooh, that's aggressive. Don't do that. Cove, who had been blushing when all this began, was now as red as an heirloom tomato. Okay, yeah, I was, or will. You're making him uncomfortable. You're making him uncomfortable. Stop embarrassing me. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry. Cove's definitely going to be good to me. Come on, Cove. What kind of answer was that? No, I'm not going to harass him. I'm between... Anyway, I'm just going to pick this one. You're making him uncomfortable. You crossed your arms over your chest and frowned at your mom. Was she trying to scare Cove off before you even had a chance to go out with him? I mean, yeah, I feel like she's playing the protective parent one, because we all know mommy, she's not protective. I love her. That's bestie. She's my favorite parent. He didn't speak further. His eyes locked down on his shuffling feet as she rubbed the scar on his arms. Like, she is protective, but it's a different protective. Like I said, we're OTP for her, so. The redness remained intact. Okay, I've put Cove through the ringer enough. The big day isn't even here yet. You wondered if that meant she intended to give a repeat of this performance tomorrow. You were afraid to find out. Oh my gosh, don't do that. Don't do that. I'll give your folks a call and get everything squared away. She headed off to get the phone, leaving the two of you alone. Cove's eyes darted to you, and he shot you a quick, delicate smile before staring at the ground again. No! It's so cute. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna go across the street. Talk to my parents. Okay. See you tomorrow. Bye, Cove. He retreated from your mom's entryway without another word. And the rest of the afternoon passed by just like that. Was this city landscape always here? I feel like it wasn't. I feel like the city landscape was not here. I remember there being a field right here. How things have changed. Back in your room, your mind was alight with the visions of tomorrow night. The soiree was something, but not nearly as exciting as going on your first date. Oh my god, I don't ever want to go on another date. That's a lie. I love going places with Gil. You were thrilled that Cove had actually said yes, that he was your genuine date to a party. But like something like this, I don't know. It seems scary. Going on a fancy date? I'm not a fancy kind of person. Like I love fancy stuff, but I don't participate in fancy stuff. I'm shy. You hugged your knees to your chest, overawed by the thought. The night couldn't come soon enough. The evening of the soiree had arrived. The daylight hours have slipped away in the blur. Up in your bedroom, you were getting ready for the big event. Oh my god, am I gonna do my makeup? That was your intention, at least, but you hadn't settled on an outfit. Stationed in front of your wardrobe, you scanned over the clothing you had at your disposal. Though Ma had mentioned the event was a bit dressier than a normal get-together, you didn't necessarily have to comply. You looked for something formal, you wanted to keep things casual. You wonder how Cove might feel about your outfit. Fuck what Cove thinks. I'm gonna put it on something formal. The occasion calls for formal, so I will wear something formal. Like, do I want him to like what I'm wearing? Yeah, but if he doesn't, fuck him. You attempted to decide between the nicer pieces in your wardrobe, the ones that rarely had a chance to come out. You decided to dress formally because you felt like you had to. You honestly like dressing up. You were dressing to impress. You ought to put the things you own to use. You wanted to make Mom happy. Yeah, let's make Mom happy. I love her. Being all fancied up for special occasions always had an impact. Any feelings you had for the clothes was nothing compared to the idea of her face lighting up when she saw you dressed so smartly. Now, teenage me would not care. Teenage me would not go fuck. I'd be upset that I'd have to get dressed up. But I do like this mom. This mom is my favorite mom. To start, you decided to wear a dress, a blouse, a button-down shirt. No. I feel like it wouldn't be good for me to wear a button-down shirt because of boobies, so I'm gonna wear a dress. The one you picked was light and had sheen. The silky material seemed to glide through your fingers as you took it from the wardrobe. It was a perfect fit for a summer evening party. Oh, is it like one of those like cute bridesmaid dresses? Is that what that is? I mean, do they make them in that size? I suppose. There are some bridesmaids who are children sized. Unfortunately, it's true. You began to get dressed, your fingers working stiff zips and awkward fastenings. It felt different against your skin, reminding you with every moment that you were dressed up. Am I wearing Spanx? Because my mom always made me have to put Spanx in a girdle when I dressed up, and I hated it. You grimaced, telling yourself that it was just for one night. You could put up with this for that long. Probably. Ooh, I hated it. I hated doing it so much. I never wanted to dress up. Dresses might be seen as reserved for girls for some people, but that wasn't a concept you bought into. If you wanted to wear one tonight, then you would. Now dressed, you gave yourself a final glance over before heading downstairs ready to head out. It's so funny. Okay, so when I was in high school, I never wore dresses and stuff like that. And so when we were taking senior pictures, everybody was like, oh my god, you look amazing. You look so cute. I didn't recognize you at first. You look completely different. And I'm like, thanks, I guess. Like, what do I look like normally to you? Now dressed, you gave yourself a final glance over before heading downstairs, ready to head out. You found your mom's already waiting in the living room. They were putting the finishing touches on their outfits, Ma strapping her heel into a stiletto shoe. Ooh, get it, and Mom trying to fasten a bracelet single-handed. She looks good. They both look good. She looks like she's going to a funeral, but she looks like she's the grieving widow at the funeral at least. But you look amazing, Mom. I love you. This is mommy. I don't want to call her ma. It feels weird. She looks more like a ma to me than a mom. But that's just my brain. That's just how my brain works. They looked up at you as you entered. Aw, princess, you look so nice, don't you think, Pam? Your expression spoke the words you were holding back, making your mom laugh. Thanks for dressing up, princess. Once tonight's over, you can put those clothes to the back of your closet and forget about them for another few months. Mom was still struggling with the bracelet. You lent a hand, literally, by taking one side and holding it as she secured the clasp. Thanks, kiddo. Have you ever tried to put on a bracelet, like that clasp, by yourself with one hand? It's a skill. It's a skill that you need to acquire. I've mastered it because I used to wear a whole bunch of bracelets. I don't wear them, I don't have any bracelets on anymore. It's a thing. Don't worry about why, it's just a thing. Mom then glanced over at the clock on the wall, seeing where the hands were pointing. A frown creased her face. When's Cove gonna be here? Do you know? Ooh, stop it. Be mean. Don't be mean. That's what I meant to say. Don't be mean. He's getting here at 7 soon, probably. I'm not sure. I'm picking him up from his place. I'll go get him. I don't fucking know. I'm not sure. Mom pursed her lips as she stared at the hands ticking by on the clock. Alright. If he's not here in 5 minutes, I'll give his house a call. Elizabeth flittered down the stairs, her eyes narrowed. You're still here? Yes, but not for much longer, hopefully. Wait, I know you're excited, but you haven't even said goodbye, and I want to go over how things are going to play out. Elizabeth sighed as Mom began listing the rules, ticking. Every time I say ticking, I think tickling them off of her fingers. No ordering takeout or other deliveries. You can't have anyone else come over. Uh-huh. She nodded, resigned to her fate, listening to the set of rules she could predict without so much as a glance at a crystal ball. That sucks ass. How come she can't have delivery? I used to get delivery all the time. If anything happens, you can call us or go across the street to the Holdens. Keep the noise down. The house might be empty, but there are people all around in the neighborhood. Usual house rules still apply. Don't do anything you wouldn't do if we were here. And we'll be back no later than 11:30 p.m., but we'll call if there are any issues. So don't tie up the phone line all night. Right, all done? Can you go now? Ooh, attitude. Why her eyes get big? I didn't like that. Ma strode over and swept Elizabeth up in a hug. Your stretcher let out a small noise, her eyes widening, and suddenly it looked much less like the smug teenager she acted like. You're such a big girl now. I still can't believe it. Elizabeth rolled her eyes. This wasn't the quick departure that she'd been hoping for. Any chance of it ending soon vanished as Mom joined in the hug. Neither can I. I feel like it was only yesterday that Elizabeth groaned, trying to cut the reminiscing off out success. You laughed and stayed well clear of the love pile. You felt sorry for your sister. You were glad you were the one getting the treatment. You joined in the hug. I'm gonna laugh. Elizabeth scowled at you over Mom's shoulder. Can you all just go? Jeez. Your family disentangled from the hug in time to catch the doorbell ring. Oh, the guest of honor is here. Mom, stop it. Stop it. She'd raced over to the door as Mom predicted Cove had arrived and he was ushered inside. You look very nice, Cove. I guess for a teenager, I suppose. Why is your shirt unbuttoned? Why are we getting the pecs? Or is that the collarbone? I feel like that's the pecs, but that could be the collarbone. Why am I getting collarbone? Sir, put your whore neck away. He's a child, let me not. Oh, thanks. He looked around the room, searching for a way out of that conversation before his eyes met yours. He looks like a waiter. He looks like a waiter at Red Lobster. Cove pulled his face into a smile as you reciprocated. The tension in his face faded away. You watched him taking in your outfit, swallowing and grinning at you again. Hi, princess. Hi, Cove. You look really nice tonight. I'm glad we got to do this. Going to a place dressed up, I mean. His words took you by surprise. It wasn't often that Cove commented on your appearance, but you were happy to accept the compliment. Oh, so sweet. So sweet and cute and precious. You attempted to control the grin spreading across your face. The small statement had made a big impact. You inspected his outfit in turn. You're looking good too. I wish I could say the same to you. That's so mean. What is that you're wearing? You look wonderful. You look good too, Cole. I'm not gonna. Where are these responses? They seem so mean. He smiled bashfully. Thank you. Now that Mom had finished reiterating the rules to Elizabeth, who then scurried off to the sanctuary of her room, she came over to greet Cove. Hi, Cove. Nice to have you along for the ride. Thank you for letting me come.
You're welcome.
It's no trouble. You're always welcome. Mom's eyebrows rose in 2 lines of concern. Let's all remember that for the foreseeable future, we'll be neighbors who have to see each other every day. What is she getting at here? Are you saying Cove's trouble? Me and Cove are like the least amount of trouble. Cove looked helplessly at your mom. Luckily, Mom came over and rescued him. Mom's the cautious sort, sweetie. You don't need to look so worried. Mom smiled reassuringly. She didn't intend to scare him. Ma laid a hand on her shoulder. I mean, he's already spent the night in my room. You don't know about that, but it's happened. So there's really nothing to worry about here. Mans is not trying to jump my bones. We should get the car. There's nothing fashionable about being late. I mean, there is something a bit fashionable about being late, but only like a bit late, like maybe like a minute late. As you made to follow your mom's, Cove held out a hand. No. Pausing, you waited for an explanation. He bolted under the force of your attention, letting out a long sigh. Both my dad and mom insisted that, since this is He paused, pushing the hair back from his burning face and forced himself to continue. It's a date and kind of a fancy party. I needed to bring something for you for inviting me. The conclusion of the story caught you by surprise. You blinked, unsure if you'd slacked too much on your own preparations for tonight. You got me a present? Not really. Just this. Is it a corsage? Cove reached behind himself to take something out of a back pocket. His hand returned to view with him holding a single small orchid by the stem. I don't like flowers, but I do like orchids. I have allergies for one, and 2, flowers smell like ass. Cove threw his gaze to the floor, shyly inching his hand closer to you. But I like looking at flowers. I just don't like flowers. Like, I'm totally fine. You give me like fake flowers, thanks. Because then they won't die. Two, I can have them for however long I want. But, you know, I would prefer a different kind of gift. I'm easily swayed by foods. It's my favorite. This is nice. I don't like this flower, you said jokingly. I don't like this flower, you said honestly. It's my favorite. I really do like orchids. Orchids are one of my favorite flowers. He twitched ever so slightly. Don't twitch. Don't do that. Was that on purpose? You remember my favorite flower and got one for me? His voice cracked under the strain of being confronted on what he had done. No, don't feel bad. This is good. This is good. Yeah, that's what I did. You didn't need to do this, Cove. I'm sorry I didn't get you anything. Thank you, Cove. You left the conversation there. You're so wonderful. I'm sorry I didn't get you anything. Why did his eyes get larger? I didn't like that. It's no big deal. I mean, like I said, you're already the one who invited me. I only get to go because of you. Then you accepted the flower from him. Cove straightened himself out in response. So, we're gonna be late if you keep standing here. Right. Better hurry. Oh, this is nice. This is nice. I love the atmosphere. You pulled up at the country club. The sun had sunk deep into the horizon, the last of its light sleepily warming the oncoming night. Your moms led the way to the space around the back where the event was being held. The place had been transformed through decoration with smart tablecloths and elegant ribbons contributing to a festive atmosphere. Musicians dressed in the matching black and white were setting up their instruments and flicking through pages of sheet music. And, as promised, there was a table covered in plates of carefully prepared food. Is there anything here I'm gonna like, though, is the real question. Destination reached, your parents rounded on you and Cove. Things haven't kicked off yet, but don't let that stop you from enjoying yourselves. Have fun, we'll be around if you need us. See you. Bye. Cove waved your moms off. Once they'd retreated a distance away, you found him watching you expectantly. Oh, don't do that. What now? Do you think I know? You think I come here often? I wasn't actually, maybe I do come here often. But do you think I party? Think I'm a partier? It wasn't a question, but a plea for help. You could tell that he definitely didn't know what to do with himself in this situation. We'll have to wait for some things to start, like the band, but there's stuff going on already. Cove pricked up at that. Oh, do you want to do any of those? Whatever they are? You introduced Cove to the people in your country club. You took a seat to relax. You checked the snacks at the refreshment. You know I gotta check the snacks. He looks done with me already. We can go eat some food now, even if the music hasn't started yet. That's okay. It's not too soon. Yeah, I only like these parties because of the free food. This is such a me answer. I knew you'd come just for the food. Yep, I wondered what they'll have this time. No one will mind, really. You simply nodded. Let's go check it out. Oh, sorry, that was too high. Let's go check it out. Two of you wandered over to the refreshment table. With it being early in the night, it had barely been touched, and the plates were nearly as pristine as when they'd left the kitchens. The offerings were all tiny and bite-sized and ready to be picked up and sampled. It was immediately apparent that there was plenty to choose from. Judging from the level of care with which it was presented, it was clear that this was fancy stuff. Cove stared at one plate, then another, confused. I think I know some of this. I don't gross, and only some of it is any good. This is good stuff, and only some of it is any good. You've examined the table like a detective at a crime scene. That one is so sour, your tongue will shrivel up. That looks like chocolate, and it is, mostly. What else is it? Nasty. Cove's eyes were wide as you guided him through what was on offer. It made you feel sophisticated. Oh, look at me. I'm so fancy and rich and beautiful. Cove squared his shoulders. Cove squared his shoulders as gearing up for a match. Don't do that. Don't be tense. I'm gonna try it. He picked up a plate and took one appetizer, then another, and another. Soon you realized he was taking one of every single type. You're taking everything? Uh-huh. Why not? You joined him in assembling everything. You picked out only certain options. I know what I want. I'm a person who knows what they want. As much as you liked the food on offer, you knew your own limits and preferences. Cove nibbled his way through everything the Cypress had. The results of his endeavor were mixed. He was revolted by some of the things he tried, only screwing up his face and rushing to find a drink to wash the taste away. Yet, these bad experiences didn't stop him from plowing on, moving on to the next snack with an open mind. There were some foods he was neutral about, dismissing them with a shrug. But best of all were his reactions when he stumbled across something good. Each time caught him by surprise, his expression morphing from wary curiosity to skeptical interest before making way for astonished enjoyment. Oh my gosh. Regardless of how he felt about what he was currently eating, you could tell he was having a good time just being free to eat whatever he laid his eyes on. You were satisfied with the limited selection you had. After going through a round of sampling, you continued munching on the refreshments while waiting for the music. I'm gonna move on to something else. You introduced Cove to the people at your. I'm gonna take a seat. I'm gonna relax. Fuck these people at the country club. We should pick a table. Okay. You found a place to sit at the edge of the party area, where it was quieter with fewer people bustling around. You pulled out a chair and sat down. Cove, already seated, was stretching. These clothes are kind of uncomfortable. He flexed an arm at the elbow, frowning before twisting it back behind him. Yeah. My arms can't move the same as normal. Like, I'm gonna rip it if I do anything. I don't mind it. Yeah, it's the worst. I think it suits you. It's the worst, buddy. It's the worst. Right? Why do they make it like this? That's a great fucking question. He toyed with his one cuff of his shirt, wedging a finger between the fabric and his skin. Now that you had a spot of your own, you stayed chatting with Cove at the table. In no time at all, the sun set in full, the lights faded in, and the opening notes of the band's first song rang out. You and Cove stopped what you were doing, turning to contemplate the party that had been steadily unfurling while you were distracted. It was much busier now, both in terms of people and activity. The first steps were taken onto the dance floor, some tentative, others eager. And even if the band hadn't been playing, the constant level of chatter would have ensured that it wasn't a quiet night. With the party now in full swing, your options had increased. You went to see what your moms were up to, you watched the band perform. I'm gonna watch the band perform. You and Cove found a spot to the side of the simple stage that had been set up for the soiree. There you were tucked out of the way on the dance floor while still enjoying an excellent view of the band. You'd gotten there in time to watch them from the start of the song, their expressions solemn as they teased notes from the strings of their instruments. Cove was entranced, nodding his head along with the music. Catching you watching him, he smiled sheepishly. Oh, it's cool. You enjoyed the performance too. The music was okay. It wasn't that impressive. I enjoyed the performance too. I love me a good band. Yeah, this is great. You hope to play that well someday. Your playing was on the same level as them. You asked his thoughts on it. I hope to play that well someday. They were professionals, their skill honed over years. It was natural that you wouldn't be performing at the standard at your age without significant dedication, time commitment, and talent, but you still dreamed of reaching that level. It makes me feel like I should practice more. Why? He was looking at you full on, his attention back on you. You made the comment idly, not expecting a response, and you felt a little bashful about explaining. They're so good. It would be nice to be able to play like that. Cove nodded, understanding. I think you can do it. And if it matters, I like your playing the way it is already. He's so precious. I love him. The band began to play their next song. Cove was entrapped once more. His head tilted curiously as he watched the musicians build their instruments. During a particularly beautiful solo, he even closed his eyes, focusing on nothing but the music. But after a couple of songs, it was decided that you'd watch the band enough. I'm gonna ask you to dance. Also, Gil is home, so if you hear any background noise, that's him. So, would you like to dance maybe? Hey Cove, let's dance. Cove, can I have the pleasure of your company on the dance floor? Come on, it's time to dance. I'd like to dance with you, if that's okay. So, I'm gonna say this one. I like this one, but I'm gonna say this one. So, would you like to dance, maybe? Really? He blurted the word out without thinking, then clamped a hand over his mouth before anything else could slip out. Oh my god. Really? Ko sucked in a deep breath, as if trying to inhale confidence as well as oxygen into his lungs. He gave a single serious nod before holding a trembling hand out towards you. Oh my gosh. You felt confident. You felt nervous right along with him. I sure do. I'm not a good dancer. The only reason you'll find me dancing is if I'm tipsy or I'm in a really good mood. Taking a steady breath, you reminded yourself that nothing here could hurt you, physically, at any rate. This train of thought was leading you down tunnels of potential embarrassment, so you tried to keep your mind on the moment. You took Kove's outstretched hand. His skin was hot and damp, but yours was probably no better. You squeezed it, giving him an empathetic smile, and together you carefully made your way onto the dance floor. How is this gonna go? I'm excited. I wanna know. You took your places, standing before each other, hands still entwined. Frowning, Kove assessed the situation, trying to puzzle it out like a math problem, before putting his remaining free hand on your shoulder. You repositioned his hand to your waist. You were happy with that. I feel like this might be a bit too forward, but you know what? I'm gonna do it. Gently, you took his hand from your shoulder and moved it lower for the dance. His eyes shook at the touch. From how tense his arm was, you knew Kove was fighting an urge to pull away. No. But ultimately, he smiled shyly at you, and his grip on your other hand tightened. Oh my gosh. Kove towered over you. You'd long been aware of your height differences, but readying yourself to dance had brought them to the forefront once more. Oh yeah, cause he's tall and I'm so short. This is awkward. This has to be awkward. Kove awkwardly glanced down at you from the corner of his eyes, looking almost apologetic. The music had begun. You both moved, eagerly trying to catch up to it, but your feet took you in opposite directions. Fumbling, the two of you shuffled from side to side, attempting to mirror each other's movements, but always winding up at odds. It was difficult. Kove was struggling just coordinating his own limbs to the rhythm, let alone matching your movements. When Kove's foot ghosted over yours, it was decided that it'd be safest for everyone if you simply swayed to the tune. You rooted yourself to the floor, your torso gently moving to the sounds. Gratefully, Kove kept his movement small and subtle in the same way. This is so cute. You were distinctly aware that almost all the other dancing couples were men paired with women, unlike you and Kove. It didn't bother you. It made you feel uneasy. It made me feel a bit uneasy. Catching you checking around for your reactions, like I am femme presenting. Unfortunately, I'm femme presenting. So I don't think anyone would ever care. No one ever cares. They see, oh, boobs, that's a girl. And I'm not just a girl. Catching you checking around for reactions, Kove smiled sympathetically and whispered low enough that no one else on the floor could hear.
Are you okay?
Do you want to stop? No, I want to keep dancing with you. All was fine for a little while. You weren't going to win any dancing accolades with Kove. But that didn't matter when you were treasuring just being so close to him. Kove stepped out of sync with the music, knocking against you. He flinched back, nearly pulling you over in the process. You took a hand from him and held it up, halting proceedings so you could both get your bearings once more. We should have stuck to the hokey pokey. It's okay. Dancing is harder than I thought. I'm sending you up for dance lessons. You quietly took a break. It's okay. Instead of fully accepting the reassurance, Kove looked off. Thanks. Then you took Kove's hand once more and gingerly resumed swaying to the music. Kove reluctantly followed suit, his steps small and apprehensive. He mumbled something quietly. This is a long song. It sure is, isn't it, Kove? You've been here for 12 hours? You weren't sure how to take that, whether it meant that something was wrong or if Kove didn't really like dancing or if he didn't like dancing with you specifically. Oh my gosh, don't do this because then I'll start to overthink. It made the last couple of minutes of the song uncomfortable as you weighed up what to do and what to say to Kove. When the musicians laid their instruments down, Kove dropped your hands as if they were burning him. He trotted off the dance floor as quickly as he could without breaking into an outright run. Oh my god, no, it's not good. I don't like this, it's not good at all. When you caught up, he said nothing. You tried to get him into doing something else, but eliciting anything from him was now impossible. You focused over Cove, wondering how he was finding the evening. He sighed. It was so quiet and unobtrusive that you wouldn't have caught it if you hadn't been watching him. His gaze was roaming. With how far his eyes seemed, whatever he was searching for couldn't be found at this party. He turned to face you before you could say anything. I want to sit down. We can do that. Cove began to move, and you instinctively followed him. Yet, instead of taking a seat at one of the many free tables as you'd expected, Cove ignored them as he purposely strode out of the party area. Where are you going? Your call didn't seem to register with him as he continued forward out onto the grass of the golf course. You went after him, trying to watch out for the uneven ground underfoot. The clods of earth dislodging in games of golf were perfect for snatching your unwary feet even in daylight. Up ahead, Cove didn't appear to have had any difficulty traversing the uneven land. Yeah, because he's like a giraffe. Aww. Poor Cove. I'm petting you. Poor Cove. He settled down on one of the little hills of the golf course. You joined him, still unsure what was going on. Are you right? And why are we here? What's wrong? Why'd you drag us out here? Look at us, breaking the rules. Look at us. Who would have thought? You didn't say anything. I'm always gonna ask, are you alright? Cove started as if he acted on instinct and your question had brought him around to reality again.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'm okay. It's nice over here. You weren't arguing with the statement, but it hardly answered your question. It would have to do for now. You can go back to the party. You didn't budge from your spot. From here, the party was just a glowing haze in the distance. You didn't want to leave him behind. I'm glad to take a break, babes. I am not a party kind of person. I'm happy to be here. I want to rest a little. Cove nodded, recognizing your shared feeling. Now that Cove was more at ease, you tried to find out what had caused him to take flight in the first place. It's because I said it was okay. I probably should not have acknowledged it. I'm sorry. Even thinking the words pained you, but you had to know the answer. Did going to the party with me make you uncomfortable? Logically, you knew that the issue was likely the activity rather than your company. Your heart strained with worry that you had been at fault, though. Was it because I made you dance? His abrupt departure from that was another indicator that something had gone awry. No! He shook his head empathetically. It's not anything I did tonight. It's definitely not anything you did either. Relief overcame you. You'd suspected as much, but with this being your first date, it was hard to be sure. Cove attempted to fill in the gaps of understanding. I don't want to think about going back into the party. I just feel ready to go home. Oh, why? To your home planet? What? Shut up. What is his answer? Don't try running that far. You kept quiet. I'm sorry you're not having fun anymore. Should I get my mom's? I don't want to ruin their night. Listen, it's okay. If anybody's ruining anybody's night, it's gonna be me. Okay? I'm ruining people's nights. Cove sat there quietly, gazing out into the shadowy hills and valleys of the golf course. A comfortably warm wind rustled between you, tossing his hair. It was so far away from the hubbub of the party, you could even make out the quiet sound of crickets chirping. This is kind of like how we first met. Do you remember? Of course I remember, you fool. Of course I do. How could I forget? Of course I do. You liked him from that very first day. I mean, he was okay. It's so weird. That was a long time ago now. It was 5 years ago. Calm down. You thought back to the day when Cove first arrived in the neighborhood. He had run away from Mr. Holden, taking solace in the hills behind your house. Yeah, so the hills were there. Did they just tear down my hills? Did they just put a city behind me? That had been late too. On a clear night like today, looking at the sky, you wondered if the stars that were looking down were the same ones as then. Cove's face was brighter, though you could still see signs of the strain that had caused him to depart from the soiree. When he first sat down, he had curled up like a pill bug, hunched over, knees pressed to his chest, and arms wrapped around them. He'd unwound as you'd been talking, straightening up and his hands free to gesticulate. I don't think I like that word. It was as though the two of you had constructed your own little world away from everything else, and he was beginning to perk up. The small smile that had crept onto his face was quickly ushered away by a frown. Oh, why? Why? I can't believe I'm on a date. Oh, with me? With me? You can't believe you're on a date with me? This is bad? Cole followed up on the statement before you could react. He spoke in a distinctly whispered tone, as though you were the only one in the world who he could share these words with. After I said I wanted to come, I wanted to take it back. Not because I really didn't want to do it, but because, I don't know. Oh, I'm sad. No. It seemed like a big deal. It made me feel bad somehow. I started feeling like I couldn't do it, even though I just wanted to do it. I guess it was sort of like having to give a presentation in front of the class, even though it was just me and you doing something like we always do. He charged on, his words streaming out. He looks upset and angry. I don't know how I like this. I still could do it because thinking about not being there and you and what you might think if I did take it back made me feel worse than whatever else I felt. At least you're kind enough not to take it back. I mean, that's happened before. To me. I'm sorry, princess. I'm sorry I can't just deal with stuff like this and have to make everything so complicated. You don't need to apologize. You sadly hung your head. I'm sorry it made you feel bad. I don't want you to be here if you don't want to be here. You smiled at him. You didn't have to come. You could have told me. You could have told me. After all of this, he had just been feeling bad. Why did he put the both of you through this? Why couldn't he have said something sooner? I wanted to come. I'm not wishing I stayed home or that this party never came up. It didn't sound like that. I mean, it kind of sounded like that to me. You wanted to take it back. He moved his head to look at you straight on, eyes meeting yours.
No way.
Yeah, I did, but it's not because I hate parties or because I hate you. I never could. Oh, it's just me. There's lots of stuff I want to feel okay doing, and I just don't. I can't explain why. I don't even know why. Oh, you got anxiety. You just got anxiety. It's okay. I understand. I get it. The problem isn't that somebody's trying to include me. You're the one who doesn't have to keep doing things.
I'm sorry.
I'm like this. I always am. And then I make you feel bad. Nobody's gonna force you to keep trying. But if you do, then I'm gonna keep trying too. When there's something I want to do and I start to feel bad for some reason, I don't want to give up on that. Give up to that and run away, especially if it's for you. Oh, okay. Well, that changes things. He flushed and had to break the fragile eye contact made. Because, I want to keep doing things with you no matter what. I don't want you to stop wanting me there. Oh, it's so cute. Because when I do whatever it is for real and you're with me, it all feels better in the end. It always does. So, thanks for inviting me, princess. It was something really special. Thanks for coming and telling me all that. You're welcome. It's special to me too. You're pretty lucky to have me. Okay, I'll think about what you told me. You nodded without another word. Thanks for coming and telling me all that. You then took his hand. You then placed a hand on his shoulder. Then you leaned against him. You ruffled his hair. Then you turned your hands over in your lap nervously. Lean against him. It always made you feel secure leaning against Cove. Having him support you in the most natural, the most literal of senses. Cove stood up without warning. Support gone, you threw out an arm to catch yourself from toppling over. Oh, rude! At that point, you didn't have much choice but to join him on your feet. What was that? Hey, give me a warning next time. What's up? You tilted your head in this unspoken question. Hey! Cole smiled awkwardly, brushing some grass off the side of his pants.
Wanna dance with me?
Oh my god, he's so cute! You already danced with me. I didn't think you had a good time. It's a dance party, right? And I think he trailed off, brow furrowed, as if He was trying to figure out the answer himself. Nodding slowly, he continued. I think I want to dance with you again, before it's over. With the only words he had to explain gone, he just held up his hand to you. His expression was soft. No thanks. I'm gonna nod quietly. Then you reached for his hand and took it in yours. Cove bit his lip as your fingers entwined together, his cheeks reddening. You returned hand in hand, with the party reaching to the end of a long evening. Dancing couples had become scarce. Ooh, we're gonna be in so much trouble. We left the party. We're gonna be in so much trouble. One pair among many were hard to notice, but now the space. Oh my gosh. I'm just gonna restart. I'm gonna restart the sentence. One pair among many were hard to notice, but now the space around you would act as a spotlight. Not that there were many left to watch you. He was still at ease, even buoyed by the dissipated crowd. This time, there was a spring in his step as you walked into the dance floor together. Cove kept hold of the hand you had given him back on that little hill. Remembering your earlier attempt at dancing, he placed his free hand on your waist, all on his own, though still with a touch of trepidation. This is cute. Cove hesitated while you waited for a sign. With the song in progress, before you stepped out to dance, there was no signal for the right moment to begin. The same thought occurred to Cove, who shrugged his shoulders with keeping form. Taking that as your starting point, you cautiously began to sway. Cove readily followed your example. You danced wordlessly, dimly aware of the music guiding you. You were more focused on Cove, whose attention was firmly fastened on you. Unlike before, when he had nervously looked down at his feet as if trying to keep them in check, his eyes were steady. He didn't even allow himself to be shaken when your knees knocked against each other, and you both briefly fumbled your steps. Oh. Instead, he chuckled, and it was as soft as the roll of the morning tide. His lips curved into a shy crescent. You had been drifting into the dreamlike state, but that expression, one that you'd never seen before, pinned you back to reality. Your heart was caught in a clinch, held tight, and yet straining with the effort of thumping harder than it had after any amount of physical exertion. As if in response, his hand began to hold yours with increased strength. He pulled you ever so slightly more towards him. Ooh. Ooh. Thoughts about what it meant or what might happen when it was over eased, and the both of you were able to simply have this dance. I'm thinking of High School Musical 3. Can I have this dance? I love that song. What a cute moment. What a cute moment. Time fell away as you took in the small moment. All too soon, the song reached its conclusion. You could have continued quite contentedly for some time more. You stilled, one hand of yours in his. Cove showed no sign of moving either. It was hard to let go. You heard your name called out, and that brought the dance truly to an end. You both spun to find Mom yelling for you and Cove. Beside her, Ma was shaking her head. It's time to go home, Lonnie. I had to get a hold of them somehow. What did you want me to do? Sneak up on them? I love Mommy. She's MVP. Her chosen method was admittedly better than that. You still winced at how dazed you'd been when she'd announced her arrival. Cove looked so embarrassed that you seriously worried about him fleeing again. This time, you didn't think he'd stop until he was out of the grounds. Despite Cove's reaction to the scene with your moms, to you it had been a perfect ending to the evening. You were so glad you had a chance to dance with Cove once more before the night was over. And it definitely was over now. You didn't need to say anything to Cove. The two of you marched wordlessly over to your parents, who were still bickering playfully. Standing shoulder to shoulder, your parents surveyed you and Cove. You wondered if they were checking that you were returning Mr. Holden's son in the same state that he'd left the house. That was quite a night, huh, gang? Wasn't it just? Cove managed a self-conscious smile. Yeah. He was smiling too, with an expression so soft it could have cradled a newborn chick. And how was your very first date? This is not the time. Ma'am, this is not the time. Please don't start on them already. It technically hasn't even ended yet. Fine. Good. Well, we'd better ready ourselves to get back to Elizabeth. If we're lucky, the house might still be standing. Oh, shush. I mean, I doubt Elizabeth would have done anything. You know what? Elizabeth seems the type to sneak people in the house. I say as I've already snuck Cove into the house. She swatted at your mom playfully, laughing at the comment. You cast one last look at the party. You saw people exchanging farewells and suppressing yawns. Most of the faces were happy ones, despite the weariness that was starting to creep in. Cove's head was angled away from you. As you watched, wondering what he was looking at, he came around and met your gaze. Did I leave my orchid in the car? It was strange. Though it had only been a few hours of your life, you felt a little older as a result of attending the party. It was like a step away from the world of your childhood, where dressing up is reserved almost exclusively as a form of play, towards something new that you hadn't yet grasped. Turning away from the final moments of the party, you shelved the thought for another time as your moms eagerly led the way back to the car. As you and Cove tailed after them, you felt childlike once more. And then the summer ended. I'm gonna take a quick drink of my water. My throat dry. Non-stop talking. Talking all the time. All the time. So, and then summer ended. What's next? What's next? Are you gonna let me move to the next step? Yes. Yes, I want to move to the next step. There was no denying it. Today was the very last day of summer. Tomorrow you were heading to class. You were excited to go back. Anxiety gnawed at your stomach. It was a bummer. Your feelings were muddled. My feelings are muddled. I have a love-hate relationship with school. There were aspects of going to school that you missed and others you would happily live without. If only you could pick and mix between bits of summer and school. You got dressed not envisaging? I've never seen this word before. Envisaging. You know what? We're gonna skip it. You know what I mean. The day before you, but contemplating what lay ahead of you tomorrow. Life was going to be different. You had come to think of the summer vacation as the norm, but school sucked up the majority of the year, whereas the summer vacation was just a respite in the middle. So rather than it being different, it was kind of a return to normal. What did your normal life really mean? Great question. Great question. What do you do after school? Just be an adult, I guess. You considered how fondly your mom talked about their summer vacations as kids. You dimly recognized that one year the pattern of school and summer itself would be over for good. It was hard to imagine. You got distracted, one arm still out of the sleeve. You pulled it through and put your mind back to the present. This season had brought plenty of changes of its own, like Kyra's visit, though that too was coming to an end today. You were happy you'd finally gotten the chance to know her. You had become extremely fond of her. You didn't really like her. Your mind was made up about her. You didn't care one way or another. I am fond of Kyra. That's my mother-in-law. The neighborhood was about to feel a lot emptier. You finished dressing, which was good. Cove would be there any moment. You'd agreed to see his mom off together. Officially, the plan was that he would come over to bring you around to his house when she was ready to set off, but you both knew that you'd be hanging out for at least a little while beforehand. Kara's visit had troubled Cove when it first happened. It had been a sudden change, thanks to Mr. Holden's infamous tendency to surprise people, but once he was able to adjust, he'd been in pretty good spirits with her around. It was a relief for everyone. The next thought that crossed your mind was, it would only be polite to get the door for Cove. You went downstairs to wait. You couldn't wait to see Cove, so you went downstairs to meet him when he arrived. Cove knew your house well enough. You could lounge in your room and wait for him. You know what? I'm gonna wait downstairs. I want to see Cove. You bounded down the stairs, your hand gliding over the rail. You wanted to make sure you got there first. If you didn't hurry, your moms might answer it. It was only a few minutes later when the doorbell rang. As you chosen to stand beside it to wait for Cove, there was no delay in pulling it open. Cove was there, just as you expected. Seeing you, he flashed a bright grin. Are we over our whole date thing? Are we okay again? Hi, princess. Hi, Cove. Come on in. Once he stepped inside, you beckoned for him to follow you upstairs. Back in your room, you sat down on your bed and waited for Cove to settle in as you knew he would. With other guests, you might have offered them a seat, but you and Cove were long past those tentative stages of friendship. Your room was as familiar to him as his own. You watched as Cove sat down on your desk chair, his preferred spot. He rolled it closer to the bed to make it easier to chat, tweaking the angle so that he was facing you fully. Once happy with the position, he leaned in towards you, hands held in his lap. His actions weren't the ones of someone who planned on moving from his spot anytime soon, even though you had an appointment to keep together that day. When is your mom leaving? Did he say don't worry about it? Okay. We've got some time. She's still got a shower and stuff before she goes. She didn't want me to just keep hanging around while she was doing that. He lifted his head, his gaze drifting out through the window, and chuckled. I can't believe she's already leaving. Just when I'm getting used to her being there every day. He leaned back in the chair, a wry smile tickling his cheeks. See? It's tickling this time. I was right. Yeah, you nodded. She'll be back. Time goes by so fast. He cocked his head thoughtfully before shrugging. He ran a hand through his hair before shaking his head, as if shaking off the topic like a dog whipping off water following a dip in the sea. The conversation lapsed into another comfortable lull. Cove swung his feet underneath the seat of the chair, eyes resting on you. Having him over here was nice. No matter how he spent the time, it always felt better for being in his company. You couldn't help but adore him, both as a friend and in a way that plucked at your heart a vague yearning for more. Ooh. Maybe it was because summer was almost over that your feelings were rushing in on you now, like high tide at the end of a long day. Summer was such a beautiful time for you two, for the two of you. Not only because it was when you first met, but because it was a season that you could spend almost entirely as you pleased, and you both chose to spend it together. You wanted to let Cove know how much you liked him. You didn't know completely what you felt. You were too scared to let him know. You weren't ready to admit it to Cove. I'm gonna let him know. I'm not holding anything back. Now was the time. You couldn't go another day without expressing these feelings you had. I mean, we could, maybe. You spoke words of affection. You confessed by kissing him. Oh my gosh, no. You asked if you could kiss him. I'm just gonna tell him I like him. This is so much. I'm not just gonna kiss him. My god, it's terrifying. Consent. It was best to be direct with Cove. You didn't want to leave room for ambiguity and misunderstanding at such an important moment. Cove was your friend. You had always been friends. It meant a lot to you, but you knew deep down that wasn't really all he was, not anymore. You had to let him know. You looked directly at him. Cove. He had already been watching you, but he lifted his head attentively at the call. Your cheeks were as hot as you were standing in the midday sun. Cove raised an eyebrow. Your heart raced. The sound rang in your ears, shutting out everything else. I know you're crushing on me, and I feel the same about you. I mean, I love you, Cove. I love you. I like you, Cove. I really, really like you. I have a crush on you. You're pretty wonderful and the best person I know. I like you so much. It was just too difficult to get the words out no matter how much you wanted to. This feels accurate. I like you, Cove. I really, really like you. I have a crush on you. I feel like this is going to be misunderstood, so I'm going to say it, because this is definitely what happened. Cove froze at his seat, the only motion coming from his widening eyes. With a jolt, you realized that was literally the only thing he was doing. He hadn't taken a single breath since you uttered the words. Cove, you need to breathe. Cove might have envied fish with their gills, but he wasn't a fish. He was a boy on land and he needed air to live. You really hoped he would remember this soon before you need to call your moms in and explain the situation? This is interesting. Why would you need to do that? Cove still had no response. You were starting to clamber off the bed towards him when, finally, he sucked in a deep breath. It's time to run away, is what it is. Okay? Okay? All you're gonna say is okay? Ugh. Fine. I guess I can't really do anything about it. But I'm not satisfied with that answer. His voice cracked on the second syllable, the word at odds with his nervous appearance. His eyes were darting around, unsure of where to place them.
I don't know.
You don't know what to do now? Oh, I don't know either. You don't have to do anything. You can tell me how you feel. Calm down. You laughed. You shrugged. You don't have to do anything. Your announcement hadn't been a command, though you worried that Cove seemed to have taken it as one. Cove tensed, his breath short and quick. His hands were gripping his knees tightly, like a bird's claws around a branch in a gale, desperately clinging onto safety and stability. What the fuck does that mean? What's a gale? Yeah, thank you for that before. You couldn't help but crack a slight smile at his sudden formalness. He could tell it was ridiculous too.
Sorry.
Sorry for being weird. It's just, I kind of thought or hoped that sometime something like this might happen with us talking about liking each other. You did? You were thinking about it before? He nodded ever so slightly. Your face felt a lot hotter after that. Cove brightened a little at your positive reaction and his explanation continued. Well, could sort of picture how it might go. Would it be like with you and me? But just the first part. I couldn't ever imagine anything that come after. And now it's actually happened. We're there. It's... He took another deep breath, stuttering on the exhale. This makes things different. Things don't have to be different. I pretty much imagined you'd react like this. This is hard for me. Should we find a crystal ball for answers? Things don't have to be different. He gave you a wan smile. A wan smile? What is a wan smile? Or is that a typo? Did I find a typo? Interesting. Thanks, but I don't think that'll work. I can't just forget. I definitely can't. His breathing started to level out once again, slowly to a usual steady rhythm. He closed his eyes, drawing himself up as he inhaled deeply. Each word he spoke next was delicate. Princess, I like you too. A lot. Probably way too much. Oh, confession? Confession? We got a confession? Oh my god, this is so cute. I'm so excited. He tucked his head bashfully and opened an eye, peeking at you through the hair that had fallen over his face like a veil. He managed a smile. My heart. My heart. Oh my god. His eyes sparkled just looking at you, his affection transparently clear. He never could hide what he was feeling, and you couldn't be more grateful for that today. You smiled at him, you hugged him, you went to kiss him. Oh, that feels too soon. This feels too soon. You breathed a sigh of relief. You felt very shy. You had to love. I'm breathing a sigh of relief. Ko squeaked out a nervous giggle. He curled his hand into a loose fist and brushed the knuckles idly against his cheek. Words evaded him as he opened his mouth and closed it again. I don't... He gave up on finishing the sentence. Instead, he rose from the chair and took a tentative step towards you. Oh, what's happening? You just got up to stand with him. You got up to stand with him. There wasn't much distance to cover, but from the way your heart pounded as you took that step, you could be excused for thinking that you had just run a marathon. You looked up into his face as he tilted his down towards you. Oh my god, what is happening? What is happening right now? Cove then pressed a hand to his creased forehead. Does this mean I'm your boyfriend or something now? Should we tell our parents? I don't know what Dad or Mom would do. There were a lot of concerns in there. You honed in on the simplest. There was no way your moms would let you have a boyfriend, even though that word juxtaposed with Cove's name made your heart race. My parents won't let me have a boyfriend or even a something. It's not fair. I wish we were older. It's okay. It doesn't matter though. We like each other and that's what's important. You don't know what to say. It's not fair. It's not fair. Pouting, you huffed and railed against the injustice of it all. Cove lifted his hand from his chest and reached towards you, halting halfway, then slowly, cautiously, hooked his fingers around yours. His palm pressed against the back of your hand. Oh. You let him hold your hand. You held his hand back. I'm holding his hand back. We're holding hands. I don't know why I have a country accent. It just came out. You rotated your hand so that you were palm to palm with Cove, your thumbs crossing one another. What is this? Achievement, budding relationship. Confess to Cove that you like him during step 2. Oh, beautiful. We can get it to work. We always figure things out, sooner or later. You're right. No matter what, it's okay in the end when it's the two of us. Your forthright statement made Cove gasp, but the smile that followed and his tighter grip on your hand told you that he had appreciated it. Princess! Cove! Then the sudden call from downstairs caught you both unaware. You'd nearly forgotten the world outside your room. From the guilty look on his face, Cove had done the same. Just had a call. Cove's mom is ready to go. If you're quick, she might keep the mandated motherly smothering to a minimum. peeking. Welcome back, Lele. Welcome back. We just got a confession back after we confessed, and this is the best moment of my life so far. This is the highlight. This is the highlight of my day. Who is this cutie? It's Cove. He likes me back. He likes me back, I guess. He's not my boyfriend yet because we're not allowed to date. You doubted that, but it was nice that Mom and Miss Priest had their strange sense of humor in common. Your eyes met Cove's. Wordlessly, you headed downstairs together. You're happy for me? Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy for me as well. I'm happy for all of us. We've locked him down. He's not going anywhere. He's mine. Each step on the way there was painfully slow, like he was trying to delay the inevitable. His whole body tensed leaving the house, and Cove froze altogether before he could cross the street. The door's open. Dad must be taking her stuff out. He swallowed hard. She's really gonna leave. You smiled at him reassuringly. You gave his back a pat. You rested your hand on his arm. This isn't the last time you'll ever see her. I know, but I got used to having her here. He's definitely a beach boy. Well, we do live very close to a beach. Yeah. It was hard to think of a world where you didn't have both of your moms living at the home with you. So you couldn't even imagine how hurt Cove must have been feeling knowing his mom was leaving. You thought you saw his bottom lip quiver just before he turned his head away from you. Aw, you've cried in front of me before. You can cry again. It's okay. You can cry. I'm here for you. You don't have to head over if you don't want to. No, it'll be worse if I miss her leaving. Excuse me. I had little burps. Okay. I thought some of the conflict warring on his face eased a bit. Together, you went across the street and inside his house, finding his parents in the living room surrounded by his mom's packed things. Hey, kids. Good timing. I just called a taxi. And hi, Princess. So glad I get to see you today. It was fabulous getting to know you this summer. I finally got to put a face to the name I've heard so many times. She blinked and Cove pouted on cue over the teasing. I'm really happy I got to meet you too. I hope you have a good time. I hope you had a good time visiting. Bye. You didn't say anything in response. I'm really happy I got to meet you too. Hopefully it won't be too long before we see each other again. Nodding, Kara turned her attention back to her boys. Her boys? Are we counting Cliff as her boy? I suppose. She patted Cliff on the arm with a warm smile, and then she enveloped Cove in a crushing hug. Initially, Cove squirmed to break free from her grip, but his mom was unfazed and kept him locked in place. Bye, hot mama. She is hot. She's a MILF. Our other mom's a MILF too. We have two moms. Heartbeats later, he gave in and hugged her back tightly. Imagine Mom running away. I mean, they're divorced, so. Technically, he ran away, didn't he? He did. And I'm so happy that trip was a success. Cliff looked like he was bursting with pride. And then Cove stiffened. Kara loosened her hold on him enough to study his face, concerned. She spoke her words in a whisper. She spoke her next words in a whisper that had been meant for just her son. Do you want to unshelve it? Raising an eyebrow, Cliff watched them carefully. His smile began to falter. That's his dad? Yeah, that's his dad. You aspire to be her? Same. I also want to be a MILF. What's wrong? Cove's gaze moved to the floor. He looked like he was grappling with where to begin, and then Cliff smacked a hand on his own cheek. You're gonna make this a family affair? You want all of them? What is wrong with you? That'd be so weird. I mean, they're not swingers, they're divorced. I doubt they want this to be happening. The noise caught everyone's attention. Cliff's eyes were wide, and you could clearly see the light bulb moment he was experiencing on his face. It shouldn't have been a surprise. I went behind your back again. Yeah. And it only took me until the very last moment to realize it. Crossing his arms, Cliff laughed at himself. You could tell it was out of frustration and disbelief rather than the usual good-natured feelings. I'm sorry, sir. It took you 3 whole months to realize it? You will go one at a time if that's better. I don't think it is. I really don't think that's any better. No, you got an ad. Yeah, there's an ad that's happening. You're not missing anything important. Just Cliff. I'm so sorry. I really thought I thought I had gotten better at this. You didn't, sir. You got worse, if anything. You have. See, me, I'm a hater. I'm gonna tell you straight. But that's your son. He loves you. He'll tell you what he thinks is true. Cole's voice was small, but it was enough to break through his dad's thoughts. Cole's mouth pulled into a small smile. It's been a long time since something like this happened. Not long enough. You deserve better than the blockhead falling behind into old habits just because things seem to be going good. I wonder what he's gonna look like as an old man. It won't keep happening. I promise I'll work on it. We can all work on it. I can try harder myself to be in the loop on what's actually happening over here. A happy smile quickly spread across Cove's face, and he answered delicately. Okay. You felt relieved seeing how much the whole family had grown together since you first met them. They could talk to each other more easily. After that, it wasn't long before the taxi arrived, rolling up in front of the house, and in clear view of the open door, Kyra stood up, smiling sadly. Well, that's my ride. Yeah. The matching reply got a chuckle out of Kyra as you all filed out of the house. Father and son went with Kyra's bags in hand. Once outside, you spotted your family waiting by the street. And to your surprise, Derek was also with them. He stood uncomfortably and he waved as soon as you noticed him. Oh, hey, Derek's here. Hey, little buddy. Hey, princess. Hi, Cove. When did you get here? My dad dropped me off just a little bit ago. Thought I could visit one more time before school started.
Sorry.
You picked a busy time. Sorry. Derek couldn't even look at Cove. He nervously kept rolling a pebble with the bottom of his shoe. Why? That's weird. I wasn't even thinking that your mom would be leaving today. I'm sorry, dude. What? You're not interrupting anything. You're always welcome here. It would have been sad if I didn't get to say goodbye before leaving. Where's Lee? Where's my cousin / best friend? I miss her. I think so too. It was apparent that Derek would have preferred to have gotten there at a more opportune moment. He never liked seeming impolite, but their reassuring words soothed his worries. Derek, you sweetie. You little sweetie, Derek. The tension he was holding in his body lessened, and he looked like he was feeling much more like himself. Bye, Derek. It was fun getting to know you. Bye, ma'am. Is there anything I can do to help? Nah, don't worry yourself over that. We're just about set. In that short amount of time, Cliff had gathered and packed the bags into the trunk. Kyra took one last look at everyone inside. Alright, I don't want to keep the driver waiting. It's time to head out. The little crowd that had formed around started their chorus of farewells and well wishes traveling, but Kyra still made no move to get into the taxi. She placed her attention on Cove. You should just move here. You should just move back in with Cove's dad and just, not be married. I'll call when I get to the airport and when I make it to Nevada. Also, you better call the moment you walk into the door at home. Otherwise, we'll be wondering all night if you got into any trouble on the way there. I can do that. And could you call tomorrow too? So I can tell you how school went? Of course, I want to hear all about it. Kyra put a hand on Cove's head and affectionately ruffled his hair one last time. She then let go, only to move on to squeezing his cheeks in her hands instead. Mom, I love you so much, baby. She was chuckling by the time she freed him and rounding things off with a small tap to the tip of his nose. Cove rubbed his face with a grin. You know they keep the meter running, right? You know you're gonna have to pay more money. Finally, she walked to the car waving and took her seat in the taxi. Cliff hooked an arm around Cove's shoulder and kept him close as it began to pull away. For a moment, Cove looked up at his dad and then wrapped an arm across his back. Bye, Mom. Bye. Travel safe. Kyra rolled the window down and stuck her head out of it. She waved again while blowing kisses at Cove and Cliff. See you again. Before she was out of sight, you decided to call out with your family and hers. I'm gonna wave goodbye. Bye. As the taxi headed down the road, you stuck your hand in the air to send her off. The cab turned down another road and completely disappeared from view. Cove let go of his dad and took a few steps out to the empty street, still looking in the direction his mom went. Oh, it's so sad. He smiled quietly, deep in thought. You got the impression Cove was feeling better than he was earlier. He was finally content with the way things were. You jumped a bit when your mom put a hand on your shoulder, pulling you away from your thoughts. She smiled when you looked at her. This was a great vacation, huh? Yeah, I don't think so. You're not in agreement, you shrugged. I don't know. Summer isn't over until the second I fall asleep. I'm gonna say, I don't know. That's such a me response to my parents. Did you at least have some really good days? Thinking about it a moment, you nodded. Mom moved your arm so she could wrap you in a quick squeeze of a side hug. Those are the ones that matter most. If you want, you can start planning ideas for next year. No, I'm good. I'm good. Thanks, though. All right. Cove walked back over to the group, still genuinely happy. Derek grinned at him welcomingly, and everyone else there smiled at him, even Elizabeth. Ma clapped her hands together, bringing everyone's attention back to the present. It's almost lunchtime. I think I'll put something special together. Ooh, what you making? Her eyes sparkled with a plan, and Mom smiled. I bet you could use some help with that. That'd be absolutely wonderful. Derek glanced between the two of you, his eyebrows furrowed. Is there something I could do? Your mom's exchanged a fond expression. Mom shook her head. That's very sweet, Derek, but it's all right. It's not your job. Technically, your dad left you under Cliff's watch. You're meant to be taken care of by him, not doing chores for the neighbors. Mom laughed a little over her own joke. You watched Derek look away, discouraged. Aw, it's okay. I don't mind. He was a little bashful about it. You wondered if Mom's joke had just reminded him that he wasn't initially meant to be invited to lunch. It was getting a little awkward. Oh, poor baby. Mom grinned sympathetically. Her comment was meant to lighten the mood, not bring it down. Ma tried again to get things moving forward. Why don't you kids go have fun? You can all come back in an hour. We'll make enough for everyone. Mom nodded in agreement. Another stunning idea, Lonnie. Thanks. Yeah, thank you. That sounds like a plan then. I don't want to cramp your style. I've got some stuff to work on, so I can be out of your hair this afternoon. You should come by later too. No reason you should be the odd man out. Mom seemed amused as Cliff rubbed his neck nervously. He grinned a wavering but pleased smile. Pleased? Why did I say pleased like that? Pleased? I appreciate the invite. He looked over the assembled crowd with knowing glances. I can help too. With as many people as you're feeding, that's going to be a lot of food. Didn't you hear what we told Derek? It wouldn't be fair to make you cook when we're the ones who are inviting you. Oh my gosh. Whew. Ma raised an eyebrow when Cliff waved it off. I insist. Derek would be missing time with his pals. This would be a break for me. I'm quite the chef. He do be chefing. He do be cooking. Ma and Ma exchanged further glances before Mom shrugged. An airtight argument. If you're sure, we'll be happy to have you, Chef Cliff. Cliff's grin widened and seemed more hyped than you'd expect him to be about helping with lunch. Cove shook his head, a fond smile on his face. Then all of us grown-up people will be heading inside. I assume the rest of you kiddos are staying out. Where's Elizabeth? Does she not care? She probably doesn't care. This is not her friend. Maybe not all of them. Oh, hey, Elizabeth. Ma tilted her head, a silent question for Elizabeth. Your sister thought for a moment. I'll stay with the kids. That's great. Both your moms smiled at her, while Derek and Cove didn't seem to appreciate her phrasing. Yeah, we're not kids, we're teenagers. You're only like 2 years older than us. Calm down. Calm down, Lizzie. But with the plan decided, all three parents waved and headed for your house. It was just you teenagers now. Elizabeth looked at you and the others, a curious expression on her face. So, what now? You suddenly wondered if Elizabeth only stayed out with you to avoid getting roped into work. Then again, she could just genuinely want to hang out. You couldn't tell with your sister. Cole spoke up after no one else did to answer Elizabeth's question. I probably read that sentence wrong, but that's okay. We're just gonna push through. We're gonna push through. Wanna go down to the shopping street? It's been a while, and I don't think there's a lot of other things we could agree on. Yeah, sure. Sounds awesome to me. Unlike you guys, I haven't been there 1,001 times. It's new to me. Let's do it, okay? If you guys really want to. There's nothing else to do. Yeah, there's nothing else to do. Why not? Why not? You strolled across the road as the group You strolled across the road as a group, there we go, down to the beach and then to the left. It took less than 15 minutes to arrive, one of the conveniences of Sunset Bird. The four of you looked around at the familiar shops, trying to see if anything caught your attention this time. Derek was the most enthusiastic. He checked out every stall with his eyes wide with wonder. Elizabeth and Cove were in good spirits as well. That's so cool! He ran over to the street magician, who was currently doing a card trick for a group of enchanted tourists. Derek clapped when the magician showed a middle-aged man on his card. Derek turned back to the group with a curious gleam on his face. What does it take to perform here anyway? Do you have to ask somebody, or do you just show up and start doing stuff? Who would you even ask? It's a public street. Hey, Miss Mayor, can I pull a rabbit out of my hat, please? Floppy is well behaved, I promise. Derek chuckled, his eyes searching you up and down the scene. Maybe there's a boss at the shopping street? No one does any of this around my neighborhood. It's just regular stores behind walls. It's different if someone wants a real store, but here, I'm pretty sure people are just putting on their little shows whenever they want and do whatever. That's so neat. Would we be allowed to do something too? Cove laughed and Derek began almost vibrating with excitement. Oh my gosh. Elizabeth rolled her eyes. What would we do? Well, I don't know what. Not yet. I mean, I just found out it's a possibility, you know? But there's gonna be something. We know cool stuff. I'm sure if we think about it, we could plan a show that really get a crowd pumped. I don't know why my reading ability is just down the hill. It was a great idea. I wanted to be a part of it. He felt he could try this idea on his own. He thought Derek needed to abandon this bad idea. Stat, you gave a look to the other two. I felt like this is such a thing for you to do, Derek, and I love that for you. So keep the dream alive. I'll support you, but I'm not gonna be in your little show. I wonder if I could do some soccer tricks. Exactly, do some soccer tricks. Do you think that'd work? I don't know yet. With some amusement, the gang continued to pursue the stalls. Elizabeth had found some earrings with a dangling, badly misprinted globe that everyone laughed at. Cove picked up a blob as Iceland, but Derek thought it had to be Greenland. Maybe. Who knows? This is a world with what looks like 9 continents? I think you're both wrong. You want to decide with Cove, you backed up Derek, you agreed with your sister. No, it's all straight. I'm staying out of it. I don't give a fuck about this conversation. It's so boring. It's so pointless to me. Suddenly, Cove froze. You stared at him and then tried to see what caught his attention. When you saw a familiar face down the way, it all made sense. Is it your mom? Oh, it's this loser. I was hoping he wouldn't come back. Bring me Lee. I don't want Jeremy. Between the crowds, his bright hair stood out with a neon green bowl and a kitchen sink. It was Jeremy. Jeremy slowly drifted his eyes down the street and his eyes widened in mutual recognition. He definitely noticed you. Please stay over there. I don't want to talk to you at all. Derek frowned and Cove tensed up. You couldn't help but remember the last time you'd seen Jeremy at Miranda's birthday party. No wonder Cove was already defensive. Oh, 'cause I punched him? You stood there, shocked. You glared at Jeremy. You waved at Jeremy. You decided to smile at Jeremy. You looked away. I'm glaring. You narrowed your eyes and projected your dislike. Elizabeth raised an eyebrow. Her gaze swept over Jeremy with a hint of a clue. Jeremy simply scoffed to himself and waded deeper into the crowd of people. Derek relaxed and exhaled loudly. Bless. I'm so glad he's not here. I'm glad he's not going to start anything. I mean, after I punched him. I sure hope he wouldn't. Kick his ass. He peeked over at Elizabeth with a tiny smirk. See? That was the mean kid.
What?
Huh? She still didn't get it. The first summer day hadn't made nearly as much of an impression on her as it did for Derek. But he smiled and waved it off. Just forget about him. Oh my gosh, does Derek have a crush on Elizabeth? That's so cute. I already have. He laughed and Cove smiled lightly. He seemed in a much better mood now that Jeremy was gone. Your eyes wandered over to where Jeremy had disappeared. You hadn't forgotten the day you met him either. He was only going to be in town for a vacation with his parents he hated. That glimpse was probably the last time you would ever see him. I hope so. Shiloh, that's who it was. I miss Shiloh. Wish you got more Shiloh. Less Jeremy, more Shiloh. You mentioned that realization to everyone. You kept the thought to yourself. You broke from the group and went up. Fuck Jeremy. I'm not doing shit. He gone. Thought gone. Forget him. Elizabeth snapped her fingers in front of your face. Apparently you had been spaced out. Cove and Derek were already at the next stall. Come on, unless you want to get left here. My buddies wouldn't leave me here. You nodded and caught up with the others. Cove raised an eyebrow. What were you thinking about? Nothing. He gave you a searching look, but let it drop when Derek yelled at you to go check something out. Jeremy was unlike anyone you had ever met before. You thought he was horrible, you thought he was weird, you thought he was stupid, you thought he was kind of pitiful, you thought he looked kind of okay, you thought he was kind of okay. You didn't want to think of— I don't want to think about him. You and the group moved on from the stall and from Jeremy. It didn't take long for everyone to return to the joking. You all joined— no, my gosh, why can I read? You all enjoyed what little time left you had, as Elizabeth mentioned the hour was almost up. The little trip had flown by and lunch must have been waiting for you now. Derek bounced on the balls of his feet. Come on guys, let's get something so we can eat. Let's get going so we can eat. I'm starving, oh my gosh. My brain is not processing words. If we have to, I can't wait. Phew, I had enough walking around. Homebound we go. I'm tired of walking, let's go. Cove stretched one of his arms. Oh my gosh. I'm struggling so much. Cove stretched one of his arms lazily. Oh, Christ. Let's go then. You looked at him appraisingly. You asked Cove to carry you back to the house. Carry me back. Hey, Cove? Yeah? Could you carry me back home? Shook. Cove turned red, obviously flustered. You explained you wanted to piggyback, right? You didn't want to walk back. You told him it was a special occasion. You decided to let it go. I want a piggyback ride. And you're the only one big enough to give me one. Cove sighed and shook his head. Elizabeth and Derek became a chorus of laughter. Come on, Cove, it'll be fun. Alright. Oh! And he did it. Oh my gosh. Cove stepped over to you. He looked like he couldn't believe what he was doing. Your lips quirked into a large smile. Oh yeah. Thanks. He carefully crouched down in front of you so that you could climb on. It took a little bit of clamoring to get yourself completely up on Cove's back. However, when Cove slipped his arms under your legs and stood up, you felt very secure. I can't trust piggyback rides. I feel like I'm gonna get dropped. I don't like heights. It's scary. It's scary up there. Elizabeth watched with a smirk on her face while Derek laughed even harder. It was fair to say that your antics were entertaining. You were glad Cove went with it. Cove carried you home, but he seemed pretty bashful about the situation. He struggled with how much to grip around you and whether or not he should try to reposition things. But along with all that, he seemed to feel some pride to be carrying you. Oh, this is sweet. This is cute. It was a pleasant walk home, and in no time you had made it back. Derek got to the front door and held it open for everyone as you each moseyed inside. The three parents were still in the kitchen. They looked up and waved. Welcome back, everyone. You made it just in time. I hope you're hungry. When Cove had brought you inside, your parents couldn't help but notice the odd conveyance. Your moms were unsure, and Mr. Holden raised an eyebrow. Why? Did you pull something, princess? No, I'm okay. Aw, Cove, you've gotten so strong. And reliable, too. What a guy. Not him hyping up his son. I love Mr. Holden. He's such a character. Cove rolled his eyes at the commentary, then started walking to your couch. He bent down and you let yourself plop back on the couch. Thanks for the lift. Cove exhaled loudly and shook his arms. He just seemed relieved that he made it. This is so funny. I love this. So, did everyone have a nice time out? She gestured for people to take a seat at the table. Plates and silverware have already been placed out. You took your normal seat. Elizabeth sat across from you, and Derek took the seat to your left. Cove sat on your right. But he blushed a little and began fidgeting with his silverware. His dad was first to pick up on his extra awkwardness, but your moms weren't far behind. The parents shared looks at Cove's reaction. It seemed that he was struggling with how to act around his dad and your parents, or both, after what happened between the two of you upstairs. Don't say it like that. It sounds dangerous, sounds scary. Oh yeah, we had a great time. I'm glad you had fun, Derek. It was fine. I had fun. I really liked it. It was okay, I guess. Yeah, the bank heist went off without a hitch. That's not something I would say. It was okay. I really liked it because I got a piggyback ride. That's good in my book. Casually, Mr. Holden sat in the empty seat across from Cove. He smiled at you and all the other kids, okay. Mom set down a platter full of water glasses on the table. She looked down at the gathering. It's a good thing we have 8 chairs. I can't remember the last time we've had a group this big for a meal. Can you pass the drinks down to the other side? Make sure you all get one. Sure. It was close to the cups, obliged, and started offering waters around. As you passed Cove his drink, your hands touched. Cove froze. Oh. You had already let it go, not yet realizing that he was too distracted to function in that moment. The glass fell down to the table, landing with a sharp clatter of glass on wood. Ooh. Cove scooted his chair back with a restrained shout. Oh. I'm sorry. I'll get a towel or something. He looked around in a frantic panic, as if an object to suck up the water would magically appear if he turned his head fast enough. His dad bit his lip in worry, rising from his own seat. Cove, what's going on? You've been a little out of it today. Did something happen? Cove tensed, frozen again. He stared at the water on the table as if he wanted to sink into it. Oh my gosh, and he's remembering all of this now? You spoke up to cover Cove. You blinked at anything that could be said. You admitted what had happened between the two of you. They had to find out sometime. You accidentally blurted it out. So this is something that would happen, but I'm gonna speak up. I'm gonna cover for Cove. If something did happen, you should wait for Cove to want to talk about it. Trying to make him say things in front of everybody wouldn't be good. Mr. Holden nodded slowly. He still seemed worried, but after another look at Cove, he smiled sympathetically. Well said, Princess. I'm here if you're ready, son. I'm here when you're ready, son. Of course. Cove breathed a sigh of relief and shot you an apologetic look. You shot him a covert thumbs up. This is so cute. As everything got set up, Ma chided Elizabeth to take her elbows off the table. And you shouldn't slouch. She pointed to Mr. Holden, who was leaning forward with both arms on the table. Oops. Oop, get him, Mom. Mr. Holden seemed unsure about all the sudden attention and carefully rearranged his posture to something suitable for a fancy dinner. He smiled sheepishly at Ma. Elizabeth rolled her eyes, and Ma gave a level look at her. You shouldn't be impolite to a guest in the house either. Elizabeth groaned, long and long-suffering. Ma giggled, and Mr. Holden chuckled. The lot of you could learn a thing or two from Derek. He has the best manners here. Okay, sure. What? We'll give that to Derek. We love Derek. He's great. Derek blushed, but it was true. His posture was upright and formal. He even held his fork gracefully. His table manners, on top of all of his attempts to aid your parents, made him the model of meal attendee behavior. It's nothing. It's true, though. You have been a lovely guest. I've noticed that, too. It's always nice when you stay over, Derek. Derek smiled and sat a little taller in his chair. And do you have anything good to say about our other guest? She looked deliberately at Cove with a teasing smirk. Elizabeth, you're such a bitch. I love her, though. I love her. Or is there just nothing to say? Well, Cove is my number one, but he does still clean his hands by wiping them on his pants. Ooh. That's not good, bud. Cove frowned at that and absentmindedly brushed his hands on his pant legs. Your mom's laughed lightly. Elizabeth, you should know, after all of these years, Cove is hardly a guest anymore. Cove smiled awkwardly. Thanks. Manners to manners. Who cares? I don't think it's that big of a deal. You tease Cove for his bad habit. You complimented Derek on his politeness. You joked that Derek was basically an adult. I'm gonna shut up. I'm just gonna eat. The parents had made an excellent lunch. You took another bite and minded your business. Everyone ate their meal together and continued to hang out for an afternoon. After the food, you and the others played a couple of games and talked about plans for the upcoming year. Time passed by quickly, and soon it was time to part ways. Mr. Holden talked to your moms at Cove. drifted over to you, knowing that as soon as his dad finished up, he would be leaving. It'd be cool to stay, but we have some stuff to do before everything closes today. Yeah, bye. Could you move? I need the phone. Ooh. Okay, Elizabeth. So rude. Cove raised an eyebrow and Elizabeth impatiently gestured behind him. Cove realized he was standing in front of where the receiver was placed. He sidestepped out of the way and shook his head, clearly thinking Elizabeth was rushing too much. Your sister made a beeline for the phone and started dialing the number of what you figured it was one of her friends. Knowing Elizabeth, she was going to be on there for a while. You, Cove, and Derek shuffled closer to the door. Seemed like Mr. Holden was wrapping up his conversation, so everyone started saying their various farewells. See you later, Cove. You gotta do this again sometime. I hope we see Derek. I hope we see Derek in the future. I enjoy him as a character, as a person. Yeah, see you. Cove turned to you and smiled slightly. Bye, princess. You hugged Cove goodbye, you patted Cove on the back, you nudged Cove's shoulder, you ruffled Cove's hair, you waved. I'm gonna nudge his shoulder. Why not? You elbowed Cove's shoulder playfully. I'll see you later. I'd hope so. It's been fun. He grinned wildly and nudged you back. There was a warm look in his eyes that you wondered when you'd see him again. Seriously, dude? We'll have to hang out later. I'm gonna miss you during school. He offered Cove a high five and the two boys clapped their hands together. Cove and his dad left soon after that. Your parents started cleaning up the house and Elizabeth was still chatting to her friends on the phone. It was just you and Derek left. So when's dinner? Was that a late lunch? Or early dinner? He elected to stay outside in front of the house to wait for his dad to pick him up. You decided to keep your guests company, although he was originally Cove's visitor. A light summer breeze blew through your hair and Derek shifted his weight from foot to foot. Thanks for waiting with me. He kicked at the ground distractedly. Dad's still gonna be a while, so do you want to go for a walk? Sure, I don't mind. The two of you walked down the street again, just wandering without a destination planned. It was quite a stroll. It was a quiet stroll, not quite, okay. It was a quiet stroll, too quiet for Derek being the company. You turned to him when you had noticed that he wasn't saying a word. That was unusual. Derek always had something he could chat about. You weren't sure if you should ask about it. Somehow you ended up at the old park near the beach. You glanced over to Derek once more, still expecting him to say something any second now. However, nothing came from him. In fact, now you noticed a frown creeping on his face. Derek smiled when he realized you were watching. At least, his mouth was turned up. There wasn't anything that really felt happy in the expression. He turned away and the smile fell off his face. His eyes stared intently at the ground and you raised an eyebrow. Is everything okay? You want to talk about something? I'm here. Derek, what's going on? You feel quiet. If you want to talk about something, I'm here. I'm a little sad. It's just, with school starting back up again, it's going to be harder to visit. I'm going to have homework and clubs and practices and everything else. It really sucks we go to different schools. His face screwed up and his fists were closed. His face screwed up and his fists were closed tightly together. This was really concerning him. What if we don't have time? You channeled some optimism into your conversation. You shared those words. We'll make time, okay? We'll make time. Oh, I didn't even see that there. We'll make time. You can talk over the phone and have plans for weekends. It'll be okay. Gary looked up at the sky. It was orange and purple with little wisps of clouds scattered around. A plane flew high with a jet stream trailing behind it. Then he turned to the ground again. Derek's face was tilted far enough down that it was harder to read his expression. Hey, princess, I actually wanted to talk to you about something, if you don't mind. There was a pause and you waited for him to finish his thought. I was just kind of wondering, do you like guys at all? Like, would you ever want to be with someone who was a boy? Sorry if that's weird to ask. Oh my gosh. Does he have a crush on me too? I'm sorry, I don't have your DLC, Derek, so I'm not gonna do your story. But maybe one day we'll do his DLC. I could be with a guy, maybe, I don't know, you didn't answer him. I kind of don't want to talk about that. I could be with a guy, maybe. Okay, then he hesitated before finishing his question. So, what I mean is, is there any guy you think is kind of cool that you like around here? Not at school or anything like that. He dug his head further. You already knew the answer. You had confronted that very topic this afternoon. Damn. Damn. I really gotta come out and be like, I like Cove. I'm gonna break his little heart. But who's more important here, him or Cove? Cove. I had to think about it, but Cove. Derek chuckled and didn't look at all surprised. Yeah, I kind of thought so. That's cool. I really hope things work out. Thanks for answering my random questions. He shot you a thumbs up. I hope we'll always be friends, no matter what. Even if we don't see each other for a long time, or if we get really busy. I still hope. He cut himself off and met your eyes. There was something serious to him. Sincerely worried that you'd fall out of friendship. Aww. I hope so too. I want us to be friends forever. We're always going to be friends. I don't know what's coming. You nod silently. I hope so too. I want us to be friends forever. Derek smiled mostly to himself. He seemed a little more like the usual. Then, for sure, we have to make the most of next year. Then the year after that, and the year after that. He rambled on for a while about things. We'll just make the most of every year. Right. You smiled and felt like your friendship was still strong. You didn't spend much longer at the park after that. Derek didn't want to miss his dad, so you both made your way back to your street. After Derek went back home, you decided to settle in for the night. Stretching your arms over your head, you noticed that the living room and the phone were free. I'm gonna call my best friend Lee, my cousin and best friend. You picked up the receiver, quickly punched in the familiar number, while going to take a seat on the couch. Soon enough, after explaining the situation to the housekeeper, Lee answered, "Oh, she's got a housekeeper. She got money like that, huh?" "Hey!" "Hi, Lee. Can we talk? Can you talk?" "Definitely. We practically have to. My gosh, can you believe it's almost time for school to start? What happened to our summer?" "School starts first thing tomorrow for me." "Ew. And I thought starting next week was bad enough." "Enjoy your last week." "Oh, I will. I hope you'll survive your first day." "I think it'll be okay. School isn't too bad." "That's true. Maybe it'll end up being a really good year. And at least summer was nice while it lasted, right? We were busy." "Yeah." Fondly, you thought about all the best memories you made this summer. Lee was there for some, but there were still many you hadn't filled her in on yet. You reminisced about your moment of summer, about a moment of summer. We have to tell her that we told Cove. She's been Team Cove this whole time. You began to speak about, Miranda, no, maybe. The one day with the big shopping trip in the morning, I don't remember that. When you had to go to the library, the time you went to Cove's house for dinner, and Cove's mom took you for a wild ride, that incredibly hot afternoon, which one? Let's talk about the soiree at the country club. She would love to hear about that. I went to a soiree at my mom's country club. There were lots of food, dancing, and people dressed up formally. Oh, I've been to one of those. They're cool. How did it go for you? Cove was my date. Cove gave me a flower. That's so cute. Cove was my date. No way. You asked him on a date? Like, date? Yeah. Oh! After laughing a bit, you dove into telling Lee everything about your night with Cove. You enjoyed sharing that memory with her. Let's talk about her now. What was your big highlight of the summer, Lee? Talking to you was always the best part of my summer. Even though it was a phone call, you just knew that Lee was winking at you. You laughed, you shook her head. Come on, tell me. Good, I'm glad you picked the right answer. I would say that, but I want to know. Come on, tell me. Tell me. Let me know. What, you don't believe me? Lee. Alright, okay. So, a high point for me was when I took that trip with my parents to Europe. That was amazing. Oh, she's going to trips to Europe. We're going to national parks, but she gets a trip to Europe. Okay. You and Lee continued to go over your adventures until you both were yawning to each other over the phone. Before I go, there's one thing I told Cove I had a crush on him today. Ooh. Yeah, we gotta tell Lee. We gotta tell Lee. There was a pause of silence. Knowing your cousin, you decided to pull your ear away from the phone. As expected, a screech loud enough for you to still make out clearly from a distance crackled through the speaker. When you felt it was safe, you put the phone back against your head. Lee was still gushing to herself, though a little less loudly. Why didn't you say so sooner? He had to have liked you back, right? You two are the most perfect pair ever. Tell me, please. You used the precious time you had left to try filling her in as best as you were capable of in that moment. But soon the approach of curfew became too much for you to ignore, despite how excited you both were. At that, you decided it was time to say goodbye for now. You did have school to wake up for in the morning. Bye, Lee. Night, princess. Talk to you later. You left the phone on the side table for now. Looking at the clock on the wall, you saw that there was only about 10 minutes until your moms would be insisting you had to go to bed so you could be rested enough for school. You stretched your legs on the couch and sighed in defeat, watching the minute hand change 1 minute closer to bedtime. You rearranged yourself, feeling restless, and looked out the window. Startled initially, you spotted a figure out in the hills. It was Cove. Oh my god. Why are you outside in the hills? That's so creepy. When the surprise faded, you realized it really wasn't that much of a shock at all. It was exactly something Cove would do. You went outside to meet up with him. You ran off to go see him. You left him alone. You smacked the window to get his attention. You opened the window. I'm gonna open the window and call out to him. Happily, you got up and strolled over to the window. You opened it fully. Hey, Cove! Startled, Cove jumped and turned around to see you through the glass. He quickly relaxed and waved at you. Not me startling this man. Then you went outside to talk to him. You ran off to go see him. Then you left him alone. Let's go talk to him. Strolling casually, you went over to the front door. When you arrived, you noticed how many fireflies were out that night. They drifted along lazily, barely minding your presence as you waded through to reach the top of the hill. Cove turned towards you as you approached, and you noticed right away that Cove looked happy to see you. Hey. You had a bounce in your step. You weren't sure how long you'd get before your moms roped you back inside for bed. Hey, what are you doing out here? Nothing. Not really. He shrugged, seeming unhappy with his own answer. You stared at him, waiting for him to continue. Well, I guess I was feeling kind of weird about stuff, so I'm getting some fresh air before bed. You should really go to sleep. I know how you feel. I feel good. I hope you feel better. You shrugged. You nodded. I hope you feel better. His mouth pulled into a bent smile. He spoke so quietly that you almost missed it. I think I will. Ooh. Cove let himself fall back into his butt and then all the way down so he was lying on his back. He looked up at the sky. You laid down yourself. You sat in the grass. You stood there. You sat on his chest. What the hell? No. I'm gonna sit in the grass and not be weird. You lowered yourself to sit nearby. He had been lost in thought or was possibly waiting for you to situate yourself, but he started speaking unprompted again. Thanks for telling me about my dad and the money he offered you to be my friend. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome for that $40 I made. That was probably the last thing you were expecting out of him. Cove seemed to pick up on that and stretch his arms out wide in front of him. This is where we met, remember? It happened that day. You could recall the sad little boy with pink cast who you found in this very spot. It felt like a lifetime ago. I kind of have a strange feeling looking at you. Not in a bad way, just thinking about you and you then, and really seeing you now. It's something. He turned his face away from you. You got the impression he was trying to hide a blush. Oh, you cute little baby. It was almost unbelievable how much of an impact he made on your life just by moving in next door. You couldn't even imagine what your days might have looked like in a world where you hadn't met him. Not you being on Tekken. I'm gonna fight him. Gil just showed up here and he's playing Tekken. That's his game right now. He's still playing it without me. I don't have Tekken. Cove glanced back at you, waiting for a response, and you had no idea what to say. Then, still without a word from you, Cove gave an exaggerated shrug. What? It's you. Huh? He snickered before answering. He looked thoroughly amused by your reaction. That's what you do all the time, so I'm being you. What? What does that mean? You do that all the time too. So do you, Cove. You were stunned. He noticed enough to take note of it. I don't do it that much. Not being able to argue. I don't understand. What do I do often? Oh, an exaggerated shrug? I don't do it that often. I don't do it that much. Cove burst into deep laughter. When it slowed, he continued to grin. Honestly, there weren't many people you could think of who could tease you about something like that. Returning his smile, you realized there was no denying that you two have been around each other for a long time. Cove broke the quiet before it could fully settle. Hey, I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, see you then. With the final wave, Cove headed for home, but you stayed there a few minutes longer. Your mind kept going back to his simple statement, see you tomorrow. No matter how much was changing around you, there were some things in your life that always seemed to remain true. The hills felt warm to you that night. Before you knew it, you were getting comfortable under the covers in your room. Your mind couldn't help still be buzzing. Your mind couldn't help but still be buzzing with thoughts about the future. There we go. It was hard not to think about Cove. There hadn't been enough time to really figure it all out after what happened between you. You felt excited, nervous, unsure. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm also nervous too. There was a little doubt in your mind that things were moving forward, and you couldn't wait to find out what changes were waiting for you on the horizon. Slowly, your eyes grew heavy as you drifted off to sleep, your mind spinning with wishful thoughts. No matter what happened next, you could only hope that you would make the most of it. You were ensnared in a dream when a noise from the outside world jostled you. Your eyes snapped open, noises happened, you just tried to forget it, you sternly kept your eyes pressed shut. My eyes snapped open. The light clatter continued. Now that you were more alert, you could distinguish it was a tapping sound. Quiet, slow, but persistent. Each beat was like being poked. You couldn't ignore it. You lifted your head from the pillow and looked for the source. Not much work was needed to puzzle it out. It was from the window. With that, you knew exactly what it was. From the color of the light filtering into your room, it was too early for anyone to be awake, including the sun. It had barely hauled itself over the horizon, but that didn't stop some people, it seemed. You sat up in bed and opened the window wide. Cool air, not yet warmed by the day, tickled your face as it pushed into your room. And just as you'd expected, there was your neighbor crouching on your windowsill. He was fully dressed, though not for school. I'm sorry, are you about to go surfing? This early, don't you have stuff to do? He was wearing a wetsuit and a shy smile. Hi, princess. You stared back, blinking. So technically, we won't be back to school for a few more hours, sir. Sir, this is inappropriate. Get off of my windowsill. His voice was delicate yet deliberate, each word a careful explanation. Classes haven't actually started yet, so do you want to hit the beach with me one more time this summer? Here we go again. It's way too early, Cove. You're crazy. Cove, you're so cute. You gave a decisive nod. You're crazy. Or it's way too early. Here we go again. I'm picking that one. I don't like this expression. Close your mouth. Your comment was half-hearted and you both knew it. Only Cove would think of something like this, and that was part of what made him special to you. Cove chuckled conspiratorially, his smile widening. You rushed to get changed into something suitable while Cove climbed back down to ground level. Your limbs, still half asleep, struggled somewhat as you attempted to coordinate them into a swimsuit, but you got there in the end. Soon as you were tiptoeing out of your front door, clutching a towel, Cove was already there to greet you. We're gonna get in so much fucking trouble. Your eyes met. Cove's gaze darted to your destination and back to you. You checked the door was closed, gave him a thumbs up, and the two of you leapt into action. Wordlessly, you began to run down the familiar path ahead, Cove beside you. The thrill of your illicit outing made you want to laugh. Not that you dared. If anyone in your family looked out and saw you, then your summer would be back to being over. One glance at Cove told you that he was exactly the same, holding back snickers for fear of being heard and caught. The towel streamed out from under your arm with a cape. You were running so fast downhill that simply keeping your balance and not tumbling down was a real threat. It just wasn't enough of one to make you slow your pace. For every step you took, the beach was a little closer and the day a little brighter. What lay ahead for you would arrive, and you were happy to meet it. Wow. Oh, we're not done yet? In between. Okay. Can I save here? No, I don't think I can save here. I forgot my hair looked like this. I was hoping we could save here and go, but I think we have to do this first. So I'm gonna keep all of this the same. Hair though, how do I want my hair? How do I want my hair? I wanna see all the hairs. I'm gonna do that hair. I'm gonna do wavy. I don't know where we're going, so this is gonna be my stuff. Change page. Birthmarks, scars, rosy cheeks, freckles, acne, glasses, earrings. Actually, you know what? Sure. Let's have some earrings. I can't see the other earrings. Oh, I think I liked the last ones. Yeah, those are cool. Lips, thick. Let's see. I've definitely gotten more scars since I've been a teenager, so let's add an arm scar. I've got leg scars, I've got arm scars. I don't wear nearly as much hats as I used to, so I'll take hats off. Braces, no, I do not have braces. Ring, what do I need a ring for? Jewel, jewels, pattern, plain, none. Headscarf, ooh. I don't want a headscarf. Ooh. Nail length, short, yeah, short. Nail color, sure. I'll paint my nails black. Nose ring? Yeah, let's get a nose ring. Let's get a fake nose ring. I had a fake nose ring. I don't know where it is. Okay, I guess we're done then. No nose ring. Let's save. We're gonna save here. Yes. Ooh, I'm excited. Are you guys excited? I'm excited. Okay, we're done. I've been streaming for almost 4 hours now. Yeah, okay. Let me change the scenes. And screen. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Thank you for, did I get any follows? I don't know if I got any follows. I don't remember if I got any follows, but it doesn't matter if I got follows or not. What matters is that you guys were here supporting me, and I appreciate it. Who is on right now? Oh, yes, Dairy Fairy Flutter Sparkle. Yes, she's finally on when I'm on. We're rating her. I love her. I have to type in her whole name though. Dairy. There we go. She's playing Wizard 101. I love when she plays Wizard 101. It's so fun. Okay, let me do this real quick. Let me type in the rating message. If you could be so kind, so lovely as to copy and paste this rating message into the chat once we raid. So let me do my quick little goodbye. Again, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Tomorrow we'll be playing Animal Crossing at 10 a.m. I'll be stopping around 2 because I gotta go home. I got therapy to do. So yeah, we'll be doing that tomorrow at 10 a.m. EST. Hope to see you there. If not, that's okay. I understand. But anyway, I hope you have a nice rest of your day, week, month, year, and life. And I hope to see you in the next stream. Bye.